Wednesday night. What's everybody drinking? Hydrating. A lot of water. You got to keep drinking water. All right. Good evening, everyone. Does it say I'm live? And am I live? I'm going to pull this out of my ear any second now. All right. It says, on mine, it says live, right? Welcome to the live. What was that? All right. Can you guys see? I can hear it. Yes, we're live. We are live. Welcome to SFMF Live Wednesday night. We had a good one Sunday. Remember, we did a Sunday instead of Saturday. Great live. All right. Going to talk about a few different things tonight, and one is hydrate. Charlotte's here already. Good to see you, brother. Talk about a few things like hydrating. After a big weekend, a lot of you did a lot of physical exercise for Memorial Day. So you're going to be seeing me hydrate all throughout the show. You got to keep drinking water. I drank water that Sunday, more water than I drank in a very long time, and it reminded me and my body that I need it. Carl Green, good to see you, brother. Thanks for being there all with us on Sunday. Counter present. Couldn't have done it without you. OG Street Racer. Get some bravo. Boot Camp bravo. Axis Films. Hey, considering joining the Marine Corps sometime in the near future. All right. Axis Films. We'll talk about that throughout the show. And the crowd will join in. John Hayes. But good on you, Axis. Let us know when you're thinking about joining. But we'll talk about that throughout for future Marines. John Hayes. In the high desert. Gary Morton from Victoria. Good to see you, brother. As always, chicken. Semper Fi. Hydrate. Semper hydrate. Sergeant Major. That's what we're going to be doing a lot. Axis. I'm telling you, nothing but information in this community right here about joining. Okay, we have our crowd is from getting ready to join to have been retired or out for many decades. So you're in the right spot. Noah Trevino, Semper Fi, buddy. So tonight, a few different topics we'll talk about. The past weekend, we'll talk about the Crucible was my short today. Got a lot of good feedback from that, and that was, is it an East Coast, West Coast, which one's harder? Is the Crucible even necessary? It's been out for almost 25 years now. Are the Marines different because of the Crucible? What's the difference? Here we go. Who else we got? Lord Fraser. Am I saying that right? Joining the Navy in the future. Semper Fi, shipmate. Joining a service, period. Less than 1% of the population serves their country, so good on you. Check out the Marines first. Jack Gray, thanks again for making me do the Murph Monday. I didn't make you do it. I motivated you to do it. My legs never felt better. Good on you, Jack. My legs are still a little sore. I'll be honest with you. What is today, Wednesday? Still a little sore, moving a little ginger. Big M, I did 1 year of ROTC. What are you doing now, Big M? What did that do for you? Do you recommend ROTC? Where'd you do it? What college did you do it at? This generation is screwed. I'm so scared I couldn't join the Army. Well, I mean, you're serving though, so good on you. Help the cause. We'll see, Noah. Do it. Go for it. You know the deal. Don't be scared. Chicken as it is. And my company was the last of the old boot camp with the 2 weeks of weapons and field training battalion. Mine as well. We did 2 weeks up there. 2 weeks of mess and maintenance, right? And then, 2 weeks of training, then mess week. I don't remember how it went. But I was before the Crucible also. So we're going to talk about that. The Art of Floundering podcast. Interesting podcast. Let's hear a little more about it. Agreed. Just serve. I told you a Marine that I knew a while ago when we talked about serving in the Marine Corps, what MOS, how critical is it to pick your MOS? And he used to say, you join the Marine Corps to be a Marine. Every Marine a rifleman. OG Streetcar, 7th Engineers Bravo. Get some Bravo. Get some Streetcar. Who are you? Good to see you looking good. Trying to maintain, brother. Engineers up. Engineer Express. Love Miss Bravo Company. Engineer Hill behind the barracks back there. Access. I may want to join because in every war in America history, I had a relative who fought, and I want to continue the bloodlines. That's a great reason to serve. Access. Keep it going. Randolph. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Give us a little quick update on here. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or where else? Instagram. Love to catch up with you, buddy. Glad you're here. You better be subscribed. Samuel, Jesus loves you and Jesus loves you. Samuel, thank you, brother. Chala, I have to get something out of my chest here. This year, I've noticed more and more people not standing for the pledge at our school, some classrooms not even having the Pledge of Allegiance. I missed the end of that, Chala, but that's a shame if it is. A lot of feelings on that. When they took God out of schools, when they took the Pledge of Allegiance, I remember it was in all my schools growing up, going back different schools as my kids are going through schools. Some have it, some don't. Some have an American flag, some don't. So yes, part of the problem, part of the bigger problem, why is that being allowed? And luckily not, my kids haven't experienced any of it yet, but the craziness that goes on in the classrooms nowadays, unreal. And that's part of our problem right now, the overall problem in America. I'm extremely sick lately, just pain, motion sickness, leg and foot, head, neck, and inability to drink. Wow, hang in there, Lord. Frieza. Figure it out. Rest. Hydrate. Get an exercise. Chicken. Join the Corps and be the best Marine you can be. Hopefully you won't have to go to war, but if one breaks out, you'll be ready. That's the plan. Good on you, Axis. All right. Again, welcome everybody. Hydrating, drinking plenty of water. Nothing better for you, for your body. I had a great weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend. I hope you all had a safe and aggressive weekend. You got some good PT in, a bunch of different ways to celebrate or enjoy Memorial Day. We talked about it a little bit, the controversy going back and forth. It's not a day to barbecue. It's not a day to relax and drink beer. Well, it actually is, and you should be able to celebrate it how you want to celebrate it. But again, take a moment in time to know why you can even do things like that, and it's because of our fallen comrades who had given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. But if you are having a hard time with it, that's Veterans Day, Memorial Day. That's, again, it could be a very, very dark day or days for some of you. So if you need to talk, reach out, hit me up on Instagram, DM me, and we'll definitely get on the phone and discuss whatever we need to discuss. Sometimes you just need to get it out. Talked to someone from our last live, spent over an hour with him on the phone. Was an awesome conversation. And it sometimes that's all you need. Remember, we talked about it when veterans say, I'm good, sometimes they don't mean that. So you gotta dig a little bit. Remember way back, it was like, you don't talk about stuff like that. It's a little taboo. No, you gotta get it out. Don't hold it in. So reach out. All right, who else here? Carl, what are you talking about up there? Finishing the Crucible was One of the most satisfying moments becoming a Marine, pushing limits and knowing it was a Marine, and knowing I was a Marine and receiving the Eagle Globe and Anchor in my hand. So the Crucible, again, that was my short this morning and got a lot of great feedback already. I'm not a Crucible Marine. It came out in 95. So I came in before that. It was never in boot camp. I didn't even have MCT after boot camp. So my boot camp was a little different. And then a few years later, became a drill instructor, went back to MCRD. The Crucible still wasn't incorporated yet. And I've told this story before, but I was on the board of drill instructors that were discussing the Crucible, whether it was necessary or not. I was a senior, so I was kind of a bunch of DIs, and I was the one talking directly with the ACMAC, the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, and the board itself. So he had his guys up in Quantico and all the DIs. I'm assuming they did one on Parris Island as well. So the thought was, the idea behind it was that there's no defining moment throughout the 13 weeks of boot camp that you know you're a Marine. And the drill instructor's argument was it is the whole 3 months. And just recruits are not always held to the standard that we know, right? We know what it takes to be a Marine. We know what it takes to make a Marine. So there are times that those lines get a little blurred. So if there's at some point someone doesn't really think, well, man, when is the day I became a Marine? It's the day you walk across that parade deck and be called Marines for the first time. Those of you that remember, when you finally line up out there, you're on the backside of the parade deck or inside, depending on where you are and what the weather is, when the battalion commander says, "Good morning, Marines," that's the defining moment. That's when chills go through your whole body and you be called a Marine for the first time ever. That was the defining moment as far as we were concerned leading up to that. So again, the thought process behind the Crucible was, again, that 48 hours, 54 hours of intense food deprivation, sleep deprivation, just butt kicking for 54 hours. One MRE a day, you got to learn how to eat it right throughout the day. The water, you had to make sure you didn't drink it all at once, whatever the situation is. And then you go through a leader's reaction course where it's not that hard, not as hard if you go out to a training area and do the LRC, the leader's reaction course. However, once you're tired and hungry, then all of a sudden you get angry and you start bickering with each other, and you can't talk during all this either. So someone's got to take charge. It's a true test of grit. Can you still perform under those conditions? Because that's combat. Granted, in the Crucible, nobody's shooting at you, but it's simulated and you have to be able to take that on as well. So mixed feelings I had for many years. I had mixed feelings about it. When I left the drill field, so back and forth with the commandant, the assistant commandant, I think they probably already had it set in their minds, it's going to happen. But we did give our input, and we weren't all for it. I got to be honest with you, the group I was working with, we weren't. We were like, let us do what we know how to do, and a Marine will know he's a Marine. Again, years later, seeing what it has done and the impact it makes on recruits, that defining moment to Marines, I think it's pretty cool. You see many pictures and stories, and when they put that Eagle Globe and Anchor in your hand, of course, the tears and the emotions that take over, pretty damn motivating. So I don't think, my question, is there a difference between post-Crucible Marines and pre-Crucible Marines? Ain't no different. Chesty Puller said it, and someone said it in the comments. Old breed, new breed, as long as it's the Marine breed. East Coast and West Coast, again, that battle will never stop. I hope it never stops. The mountains of San Diego or the sand fleas of Parris Island, which is worse? Really, the only ones who have credibility to make that determination is if you went to boot camp in both locations. And I don't think anybody has. You've been a recruit and one in the DI one, that's happened before. But unless you were a recruit in both depots, it's your opinion. Because I'm going with the mountains of Camp Pendleton. Brutal. At the same time, I don't have a lot of discipline, so I think I might be slapping them sand fleas. I'd be thrashed all day, every day, if I was a recruit in Parris Island. I don't know. But it was great. Good topic, good discussion. Still to this day, when I left San Diego as a drill instructor, I went to 7th ESB, Bravo Company, and we moved from Mainside Camp Pendleton to Edson Range, occupied a squad bay, and started building the Crucible. So I have a little bit to do with the Crucible, just never went through it. We built all the obstacles all there in Edson Range. Great projects. It was the Leaders Reaction Course, all through the woods, if you will, of San Diego, through the desert, through Weapons Field Training Battalion. So it was interesting. Obviously, we would build one, and then we'd kind of go through it, not full-fledged and not after being on forced marches and hikes, and we weren't hungry or tired or thirsty. Right? We had some nice cold water while we did it. But very good reaction courses. So I'm all about it. Michael's Drones, RCs and Knives. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for joining us. Hollywood Marines, VZ. Best things to do in Okinawa. Is that a question? Okinawa is awesome. Love it over there. Eric Garcia, got it. I'll take it day by day and just remember why I'm here when I get the question. I might have missed some of the comments, but welcome everybody. It is Wednesday night. We're drinking water. We are hydrating, and some more hydration. All right. Jared, good to see you, brother. Edson Range rice patties were the best. Edson Range rice patties. Was there rice patties at Edson Range back in the day? Jared, I didn't know that. Who's manning the support team tonight for the stream? Uh-oh. Charlie, why? What do you got? How's it going? Is it smooth? Everything smooth? I got my support team here. You know it's the family. They got my back. JN, USMC, did you see combat? Yes. Any of it. OG, Street Racer. We built the second chow hall too. Bravo Company did at Edson Range. Lay Cookie, Robles, and Rochette. That's right, Randolph. You were with me. You were with us during all that stuff. Kadena Chow Hall is the bomb. Yes, you know Air Force takes care of them. They're airmen. Kadena Chow Hall was the best. Eric Garcia, best drilling boot camp, or did they all stink? What are you talking about, Eric? East Coast, West Coast? Randolph. Carlos, some age, am I recovering? I'm recovering from watching you do a Murphy. Whatever, Carlos. You did it with me, right? You're recovering from watching me? You must be tired. that was a long and painful show watching me do that. Chala, going great, so I'm ready to just checking in. All right. Whew, you scared the support team, Chala. They're standing by. They're ready. They got my back. Jared, sand, circles, and the stickers. Yeah, I ate some. Circles were the sights in the white barrels. The snap-in circles. Got it. Never called them rice patties. That's interesting. I like that. I wish I would have known that. We would have called them that. Parris Island in the summer is much more. I missed it. It's got to be brutal. Parris Island in the summer. My daughter was there in the summer, Parris Island. And I tell you, when we went to see her graduation, was miserable for those 2 days. So to go through boot camp there, simplified all of you that was Parris Island, especially in the summer. All right. Joe Warren. Good evening. Good to see you. 96 to 2000, Fox 25, Black Hearts. P. Watts, went to boot camp in much more than sand fleas. I went to boot camp as much more than sand fleas. Sand fleas. So amazing. He's still in good shape. I'm trying Michael's Drones. I worked my first concert last night. EMT, fun time. Good on you, Charlie. What concert was it? What concert were you working? And did you see any blood? Anybody need your services? All right. So everyone, again, welcome. It is Wednesday night. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Get with your friends and neighbors, any patriots that you know, to help us continue this, building this community of like-minded warriors. Right? Went and visited a war memorial today. Got to talk to a bunch of JROTC cadets, Army JROTC cadets, and just talked about the different battles. And they even had some great questions. And the theme, the overall theme at the end of it was, did we win or lose any certain battles in Vietnam? Again, all the controversy and all that, but we don't lose. That was the common theme, and that's because of our tenacity and all the services. Talked about the joint services of it. So as much as we play with the other services, who's better, because we know who's better, but it is a combined effort, and we all need each other. So it was a great conversation, again, a couple of days after Memorial Day. But it is an awesome rivalry that we all have, and that's what makes us so dang good. So the Crucible, we talked about the Crucible. What about, Charlie, you're in D.C., no blood, definitely alcohol-related emergencies for sure. All right, Charlie, take care of them. All right, once again, checking in. Nobody told me what they're drinking yet. And where are you checking in from? Want to hear what you're drinking? Want to hear where you're checking in from? Before we get this started, excuse me, see how much water I'm drinking? Echo 2-3, Knowledge 1, Bed bugs, mosquitoes, love them in boot camp. Yeah, bed bugs in boot camp, Giovanni? Oh. Get some vitamin water. Washington State, Extreme. Good to see you, Extreme. Thanks for joining us. Hot roasted Japanese green tea. Wow, that sounds delicious. That's called matcha. That sounds delicious. Anderson Ho, good to see you, brother. Thanks for joining us. Carl says, ever do any TAD? I did a few myself. Carl, I try to get on as many TAD trips as possible. And I recommend that to any of you Marines out there right now, active duty or getting ready to be Marines. We talked about volunteering a while ago, but every TAD trip, I went to some things I had probably no business being there, but it's just more knowledge, filling your toolbox up with tools that you never know if you'll need them or not, to include the Air Force Academy. I told you I went to the Air Force E6 Academy. I had no business being there. And did it help my career? It certainly didn't hurt it. It didn't help me get promoted or anything, but it just filled my toolbox with tools. So go every TAD that you possibly can. Knowledge 1 is from New Hampshire. Kill, Ebra. We'll return shortly. Sorry. All right, Chala, we'll be waiting for you. Kendall Nestor, you look squared away in high speed. Ebra. I try to be. Thanks, Kendall. Appreciate that. 3-3 Lima, 2010 to 14. Also make for great networking opportunities. Yes, in TAD. You go TAD, you get to see Marines, usually of the same rank or similar, but different MOSs. So you get to see a side of the Marine Corps that you don't always get to see. If you're in Motor T, you do your entire career with Motor T, you know everything there's that you need to know about Motor T, but you wonder what the other MOSs do. That's a great thing about the academies, from Corporal's course all the way up to Sergeant Major Academy. So it is great. It's great to see Marines from different MOSs. You talk story, you find out, really, you guys, when do you do your field day? What kind of leadership issues are you having? So it's a great, appreciate you saying that. Great way to make connections. And then towards the end of your career, even better when you find guys and girls that are getting out. What are your plans? Transition plans. We can talk about that always. But it definitely helps. The more you know, again, just like going to boot camp, the more you know before you go, the better off you'll be. 0311 Infantry. Stephen Diesel. Samurai style. Hi. Is that you? Is that a picture of you in that little thing? OG Street Race. Good to see you, brother. Great seeing you doing positive things. I'll be in touch. Definitely. Please be in touch. All right. Thanks for joining us. Phoenix, Arizona, drinking milk with my Oreos. Phoenix, Arizona, you better drink some water. It's got to be hot there this time of year. But love some milk and Oreos. And get some. Arterial scope to check out my heart. John McJunkin, you all right? Is this, you having new issues? Acknowledge, yep. John, let us know. Extreme 0311 for about 6 months. 6 months. Black tea with rose leaves, sliced lemon. Ace Aaron, how do you earn the guide on honor grad? I want to prepare. I'm gunning for that position. Great question, Ace Aaron. How do you become the guide? You got to bust your butt. The more you know before you go. Remember, as a drill instructor, I would always, the first day, just look for anyone that I know for sure they know their left from right in marching. Being the guide has 75% to do with how well you can drill, because you're going to be graded just almost as the weight is almost as much as a DI. So you have to be good at the stick, you have to be good at drill, and you have to be a self-starter. You have to be able to maintain your physical fitness. We don't shine boots anymore, but you have to get familiar with the rifle. You got to do all those other things kind of on your own time, because as a guide, you're going to be working with the stick for initial drill and final drill. So drill. And then, of course, taking charge, because the guide is overall in charge of the platoon when the drill instructors aren't there. So you have to be able to control the platoon during cleanups, fire watches, during, again, anytime the drill instructors aren't around, which is pretty much never, but they do step back and they watch and they try to pick out that guy, because that is a huge honor to graduate as the honor man or honor graduate. For the females, you get a promotion, you get the blue dress uniform, you get a plaque and all kinds of things. It's definitely a huge honor. The squad leaders usually get promoted, and then a few other PFC promotions throughout. But it's definitely worth it. It's definitely a great way to go through boot camp. Again, in the summer, you're against about 70, 80, or 90 recruits, so it's tough. And then you go from each platoon, again, 3 platoons in each series. You go for the series honor man, and then you can even compete for the company honor graduate, which is what my daughter did. Company honor graduate. I was just a series honor graduate, so she had to outdo me. But it definitely is a motivating way to go through boot camp. It kind of it could be an indication of what kind of career you're going to have. You never know. A roundabout way, if I hope I answered your question, how do you become the guide? You just got to get after it 24/7. Be on top of it. You can lose it. You can, and of course, I got fired a couple of times throughout, but it's what happens when you get fired. If you get fired, sometimes they'll probably just fire you just to see how you'll react. So like Muhammad Ali says, you don't lose a fight when you get knocked down. You lose a fight if you don't get back up. So get right back up. What was the comment that I missed? John McJunkin said, the good thing is my health is excellent shape for the procedure, but this is to see why I'm still in good condition, even with the heart murmur. Amen, because you're still getting after it. John, good luck. Hope it all works out. What did he say? What was the comment? P. Watts, put it up again. P. Watts, put it up. Oh, there it is. My dad, World War II Navy veteran on an LST in the South Pacific, told me, never again volunteer yourself. So again, remember we talked about the volunteering. That was, I think that's dated to that era, World War II Navy era, where it was never a good thing to volunteer back then. Kind of as rolled over into today, again, my personal opinion, I think it's a great idea to volunteer, especially in peacetime. Will you get some crap jobs? Maybe here and there, but when the good ones come up, you'll be recognized as a volunteer. So I hear you, P. Watts. And then you had another question, P. Watts. Put that one back up there, please. Chris says, boot camp for me was back in 2013, December 5, 2nd Battalion, 23rd Marines, 4th Marine Division, Iraq. Get some Reserve Marines, 23rd Marines, awesome, awesome unit. Jared, I volunteered a few times and got LOCs every time. Letter of LOCs, letter of what? Letter of accommodation, letter of recommendations, all kinds of good stuff can come from volunteering. Yes, could you even get a NAM, a Navy Achievement Medal out of it, depending on what it is. So again, I'm going to stick to that now, today, in today's Marine Corps, volunteer. Get yourself out there, show them that you are a team player. You're prepared to do anything for the good of the whole, the mission, accomplish the mission. Chris says, prepare and professional. All right, I'm with that. P. Watt says, is URAH the SoCal version of URAH? All right, great question, P. Watts. What is URAH and where did it come from? So that's me. It's not official. It's not nothing. It doesn't stand for anything. It's over the years. I figure that's how I say it. URAH. I don't say URAH. I know that's the official URAH, OOHRAH, and I've been corrected many times. You're spelling it wrong. Well, it's not how I say it. URAH. And it reminds me of and there's even an ERAH. I've seen that. ERAH. So, there's different ways to say it. Again, it's not official. Maybe I should trademark it. Don't tell nobody. And it reminds me, though, I think I started it when I was a drill instructor. There was an old sergeant major who used to hang out in the clothing sales. And those drill instructors around that era will probably, you can relate. You know this guy. He's been around. He's probably still there 35 years later. And that's how he spoke. Come on, sir. Take that. You get the over here. Come here. Big guy, old retired sergeant major. He worked at the Closey. He was sergeant major. But again, so nothing official. P. Watts, thanks for asking. I hear that not often, but every now and then it'll pop up and say, you're spelling it wrong. It's an SFMF community thing, and a lot of you are using it, and I appreciate that, because it is. Who says URAH? Some do, and again, nothing against those of you that say it, and there are t-shirts that say URAH. But that's how I say it. Kind of like I say Sergeant Major. That's another one. They don't pronounce sergeant all the way. Sergeant Major or First Sergeant. That one, I get hit on that one a lot too. People spell it for me. And when they correct me, they usually spell it wrong. Sergeant is not spelled like you would think. All of you are spelling it correctly on here. But a lot of people say, well, did you pronounce it right? It's not Sarnt, S-A-R-N-T. And that's, I never knew it. I never knew that until one of my couple videos into it, I got blasted. You're saying it wrong. Say it right. It's not Sarnt. What's wrong with Marines? But I think it's, again, no excuse. A hurry up thing. Come here, First Sergeant. Hey, Sergeant Major. that one was fun. That was my first exposure to the haters on YouTube, and it was fun. That's when I got introduced to trolls. That was fun. Birdman. Hey, Sergeant Major. How you doing? Good to see you, Birdman. Welcome. We're just kind of clowning right now for a minute, but we did talk about Memorial Day a little bit and the recovery. That's why I'm drinking water. Talked about the Crucible, pre-Crucible, post-Crucible, which Marine is better. Like Chesty says, it doesn't matter as long as you're a Marine. Jaren, is that any different than calling a captain skipper? Another good one. In the Navy, they call the captain of the ship, which is an 06, skipper. That, and you know, Marines go by naval terminology. That's been done in the Marine Corps as well. Seems to be going out. But you call the colonel the skipper. Even heard it in the company level where the company commander is a captain, heard him call skipper. But that's a Navy thing, a naval terminology that the captain of the ship is called the skipper. Good one, Jared. P. Watt says, my ex was force recon, so I learned to bella URAH from the diaphragm better than most guys. I try to get my girls to do it all the time. From the diaphragm. You want to blow your throat out. That's why I still can't talk normal today. I think I didn't learn that when I was a drill instructor, and I used to scream and I blew my throat out. So I got to learn to do it from the diaphragm. Now it says, our heavies in boots camp panel were some crazy guys. Your heavies in boot? Our heavies in boot. Tom, hey, that's Mattis you hear in the background, by the way. San Diego Marines are the best. Nothing but Hollywood Marines all the way. All right. Anybody disagree with that? On top, or top for Master Sergeant. Another good one, Jared. Top. I told you about top is a term that has gone away completely. Don't do it. Don't use it. Who knows why? And this was early. In the late 80s, they were still using it. One of my first Master Sergeants I met, we called him top. I didn't know his rank for a longest time. Just knew he had a lot of stuff up there. And that was top. We just knew him as top. First sergeants and master sergeants on up. I don't know about the sergeant major and the master gunnery sergeant, but for sure, first sergeants and master sergeants were top. And that slowly went away. And here's the day I was positive it went away. We had a first sergeant in 7th ESB. We're on a deployment to Alaska. And there was a Marine already there training with the Army National Guard. So when we got to Alaska, the Army National Guard got to Alaska, we took our Marine back. He was a Lance Corporal. He had been training with the Army National Guard for a while. And as soon as I was the company gunny, I went and picked him up and, hey, okay, you're back with us now. Let me introduce you around. I introduced him to our first sergeant. His first sergeant is Lance Corporal Schmuckatelli. He was at the Army National Guard. He's back with us now, all present accounted for. And Lance Corporal said, hey, Top. was the biggest mistake he ever made in his life. The first sergeant went on to say things like, if you ever say that word again, I'll rip your face off, and some explicitives in there, and it wasn't pretty. And he commenced to PT all around our small little base camp in southern Alaska, where it was miserable already anyway. And then I did ask the first sergeant about it. When did it go out? And again, nothing official, but don't use it. Master Sergeant Handler is called top by senior. All right, P. Watts. I have a lot of admiration for all DS. Oh. Is there a way, Ace says, is there a way to practice using a guide stick before boot camp? Tutorials. Good one. All right. I'm writing that down. Guide on tutorial. So get a broomstick. A guide on stick, you can purchase one, I'm sure, online, but yes, definitely practice it. I don't know if there's any tutorials yet. I'm going to do one. Watch some films and check it out. But good idea. Get used to the stick before you go. Giovanni says, what do you think about Marines in New York over Memorial Day weekend? That video went viral. I did watch it on LinkedIn with no sound for, I think I was doing something. What I think, it looked pretty motivating. Is there more to it? Did I miss it? I don't know if I missed anything, but I love seeing things like that. I'm glad there was no BS, no protesters doing anything weird. It looked pretty motivating to me. Maybe I need to watch it again. Let me know. Giovanni, what did you think of it? P. Watts says, practice guide stick, broom handle. Any stick is, guidon's a little thicker and a little heavier than a broomstick, but definitely get used to those movements. Birdman, that reminds me of Poolee function. We had a drill instructor there, and the Poolee thought he'd be funny and say, what's up to the drill instructor. I went to a Poolee function as a drill instructor. I was a green belt drill instructor. They sent me out to Dallas to do a big, I didn't know anything about Texas at the time, but there's about 500 Poolees there. And I was a green belt drill instructor from San Diego, and they were supposed to send a green belt from Parris Island. 2 DIs. I was a young sergeant, motivated, thrashing recruits. And it was a 3-day event, and I was supposed to, again, just motivate the Poolees and yell at them and do some DI things. And I was a little intimidated, though, to put it out there. Full transparency, there's 500 of them, and all their families were behind them. It was a big event. Luckily, what saved me that day, so I was trying to talk to all of them, and I wanted them to tighten it up, and I reminded myself they're civilians. They're not Marines yet or recruits, so I can't even talk to them like that. So I thought, well, right before I started, a guy comes up. He's like, Drill Instructor Sergeant Cece, I was in your platoon 2 cycles ago. So he was a Marine. Perfect. Come up and ask me during my speech, like interrupt me and ask me to use the head or something. And so it was orchestrated, and he did. Well, I was telling, all right, this is what you're going to do in boot camp. I was talking to all these 500 guys, running back and forth, had the smoky on, and this kid, Marine, came up and asked me a question, and I just completely obliterated him. Yes, I thrashed him because he was a Marine, and he was all about it. And I was making bend and thrust and just thrashed the crap out of him and sent him away. Then I had their attention. So then we had some good questions. It turned out very well. It was fun. Those Poolee functions, those of you that are in the Poolee program, go to every single function that you possibly can. Nothing but information there, and ask questions. Find the Marines. Find everybody and just ask questions. The officers, find your OSO, your officer selection officer, same thing. Get as much information about being an officer as you possibly can, about going to officer candidate school. Go to the same Poolee functions that the enlisted Poolees go to. Nothing but knowledge. You'll never learn it all. So the more information you have, the better Marine you'll be, the better Marine officer you'll be. All about it. Find your local recruiting stations. Even though your OSO is not there, still go to the recruiting office and still talk to the Marines. Talk to the staff NCOs, the recruiters that are running that station. Find out what the Marines are talking about right now, what the Poolees are talking about. Nothing but knowledge. Jared says, the USMC Silent Drill Team ain't no joke. Marines are awesome. Era. Concur. 100%. Those are young infantrymen. Those of you joining the infantry, if you can get to the Silent Drill Platoon, go for it. Talked about it. They perform 365 performances a year. So yes, they have more. They perform more days than there are in a year. So obviously they do a couple 2-a-days. 8th and I. That's where you want to go. On the bucket list, I'm going to get to 8th and I before I go. Before I PCS forever. Love the Marine Corps. Wish I was still in. I only ever wanted to be a drill instructor. Stephen Diesel. Definitely was highlighting. One of the questions this morning from the JRTC cadets was, what was your favorite part of being a Marine? And there's a lot. Of course, deployments. That's why I joined, to deploy, defend my country. But being a drill instructor was definitely one of the most motivating and hardest things I did throughout my entire career, but it was also the most rewarding, turning these nasty civilians into United States Marines. And I even got some haters on that when I called those guys nasty civilians. And that's a DI thing. Of course, we love everybody, but to take those things and turn them into United States Marines, America's finest fighting force in the world, is pretty awesome to do it in 3 months. And then the hard part is once you graduate those Marines, they're marching across the stage and you're proud as heck. And then 3 or 4 days later, you pick up another platoon of things and starting all over again, back to zero. It's pretty tough. It's hard work. Give it up to the DIs. John McJunkin, repeat your last one before that. What's going on with these recruiters these days? That one? Demanding anything from their drill instructors. So, about the cell phones. Put that back up if you could, John. So the DI recruiter relationship is interesting, and if anyone out there has done both, please chime in. It is possible to do both DI and recruiting, something I always wanted to do, but I wanted to be a DI first, and it just never worked out time-wise for me to be a recruiter later. But what halfway through my DI tour, because drill instructors, dog recruiters, what did they send me? Look at this guy's a piece of big sack of potatoes, can't do a single pull-up. What is wrong with these recruiters? What are they sending me? So drill instructors would dog the recruiters, not knowing what the recruiters have to deal with. I had no idea the challenges that recruiters face every day. So one of our first sergeants took us on one of our breaks. We actually had like a 2-week break in between cycles. So we had some time, did some annual training first, and then he took us to RS San Diego. Spent 3 days with the recruiters, canvassing, phone calls, just watching them, what they do every single day. And I tell you what, a whole new respect for recruiters and the BS that they got to put up with, and the rejection and the hang-ups and the haters and the trolls. And this was before social media. So who knows what kind of crap that they have to deal with today. And today's parents and the questions that the kids probably have. I'm telling you, maybe I wouldn't have made it as a recruiter. You never know. But they definitely had have a extremely hard job. So when you see a recruiter, give it up to them. And good on you. Shout out to all of you. Keep up the great work. I know for a fact it's not easy, and I did it for 3 days. Can't imagine doing it for 3 years. Some of you are extremely successful at it. Depends on where you are too. I've heard that quite a bit. If you're in a military town, a little easier. If you're out in Podunk somewhere where it's not popular, might be a whole lot harder. But good on you. Good on those recruiters. All right. Joseph, I know a few Marines who lost their wives from their recruiting tours. The divorce rate, I'm sure, is extremely high. It's even high for DIs, because those are two very demanding jobs. So if you can make it through alive without getting fired and still with your marriage intact, good on you. Harder for the Marine and even harder for the spouse. Charlie, you back? Did you get some burpees, Charlie, in between your little bout of UA? Birdman, my parents definitely didn't want me to enlist, but I sat down with them and they're supportive of me going in. Awesome. Glad to see they came around, Birdman, and they're going to love it. They're going to be more proud than they can even imagine. So, not easy. I had a similar experience. My parents didn't want me to. I thought my mom was going to be harder than my dad, but my mom signed first. My dad took about 8 months before he actually signed. And come to find, I didn't know at the time, but my uncle, his brother, had a very bad experience, a couple of bad experiences in Vietnam, bad PTSD, and my dad, of course, wanted to save me from anything like that. That was the reasoning behind it. I didn't know. So it was real tough. And I didn't understand why he didn't want me to. Again, if those of y'all know my story, college wasn't on my horizon. No one in my family went to college. I didn't know enough about it. It was a missed opportunity. I see now, and I want nothing more than my kids to go to college and then make that decision later what they want to do with it. Is a college degree going to make or break them? Absolutely not. But it is definitely a smart thing to do, getting that college degree. So it's tough. Good to hear, Birdman. Anderson Ho, as a recruiter, you have to learn some critical, I can't see the cultural norms, yes, especially when dealing with immigrant families when you're trying to recruit their first generation child. For example, taking off your shoes at their house. Yeah, absolutely. You remember the Modelo commercial? That's, I have to do that. That was a recruiting commercial. A good friend of ours was the main character, and I'm sure they have multiple commercials, but he was one of them. Gunny Rod, awesome Marine. We're gonna have him on the show soon. Awesome Navy Cross recipient. This dude is a bad, you know what. Awesome Marine, great friend. We're gonna have him on the show. He did a commercial for Modelo, the beer. Motivating. Look it up. Gunnery Sergeant Rodriguez Chavez. Era. P. Watts, thank you for mentioning spouses. I was both an enlisted Marine and a Marine officer, but many times it was harder to be a Marine spouse. They don't get enough recognition, P. Watts. They don't. We take them for granted. The active duty service member, it's a thankless job a lot of times. And I used to tell people the Marines got it easy. I know where I'm going, what I'm getting ready to do. They send me in Afghanistan, I'm going to fight and try to kill the enemy. I know I'm going to be tired, hungry, hot, thirsty, whatever. I know it's going to be miserable, but I know what I'm getting into. Day to day might be questionable and if I'm going to make it back. But imagine the spouse at home, not knowing any of that. Nowadays, again, with technology, the communication's a lot better. I think I told y'all before, Desert Storm, I think it was 4 or 5 months before I was able to speak to my wife. And no hard mail, we weren't getting snail mail yet. So months of my wife just watching the news. And we know how crooked the news media is, and it just wasn't reliable sources. Imagine that. So the spouses, God, they got it so much harder. And not just worrying about us, but they're also taking care of the kids in the house and the cars and changing oil and all the practices depending on the age of your kids or if you have babies. My baby was 9 months old when I left the first time. So that is the much harder job if you ask me. We're going to do, it's like a pro athlete, we're going to do what we love. And that's what we signed up to do. Even field operations, you're going to field 2-3 weeks at a time. We're away, we know what we're going to do. We don't have to worry about anything back home. And you're hanging with your buddies, right? Your Marine family. So it's definitely, P. Watts, thanks for bringing that up and appreciate you saying that and having lived it. P. Watts, you've been on both sides, so you know. So shout out to all the spouses. So the Military Dependent Appreciation Month, that's every day, every single day. P. Watts was the Key Wife Coordinator for the 2nd SHRIG during Desert Storm. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's it. And to have someone comfort the other spouses. And you probably get some pretty irate spouses at times. Brandon Hall, ERA. Caruso, hoorah, Sergeant Major. Is somebody asked, is NJP still called office hours? Yes, it is. Navy calls it captain's mass on ship. Is that only on ship? But yes, NJP, non-judicial punishment, is also called office hours. When do you call it one or the other? Good questions. You going up for office hours? Yeah, you going up for NJP? I was NJP'd. I'm not even sure why you would use one and not the other, but it is office hours. And during office hours, you get NJP'd or not. With your service record book, your SRB, page 11, Page 11 entries. Oh, you got a page 11. It always is associated with bad things, but it doesn't have to be. Page 12 is for NJPs and office hours. Page 11 is for negative counseling, but it's also for positive counseling. People forget that. And the only reason I know that, and it seemed like I'm the expert on it, I'm not. But in boot camp, I was meritoriously promoted because I was the guide. But I also went in as a contract PFC because as a Poolee, I had recruited a couple kids. So my DI explained it to me for some reason. He said, look, you're getting PFC contract because you came in as a PFC because you recruited some kids. But I'm going to put a page 11 entry into your SRB. I had no idea what that meant at the time. But I'm going to put a page 11 entry that says this recruit, this Marine, I don't remember what it said, but was meritoriously selected for promotion, but he is receiving a contract PFC. And what that did is allowed the senior drill instructor to promote somebody else. So it freed up a meritorious promotion. But it let me know later on, shortly after that in my career, when talking about page 11s, that page 11s can be for positive also. And I use that as a first sergeant and sergeant major throughout my career for something just like that. A meritorious promotee who, that happens to in the Marine Corps. You're going up for meritorious corporal, you bust your butt, you study, you prepare, you go for the board and you take first place. At the same time, the new cutting scores come out and you got it, a Marine got it contract-wise. So I allowed him to, or he took it contract-wise, and it freed up another meritorious promotion for my battalion. So another deserving Marine got promoted. So page 11s are good, can be good. You don't want the negative page 11s, which those are much more common. Birdman, what you think is better, traditional or Roth? I'm wondering what to put my money in. My production team says Roth, and I trust them more than me. I'm terrible with money. My production team says Roth. So save your money. Here's something that has always bothered me my entire career. When you first came in, right out of boot camp, they say start saving money now as a brand new PFC or private. $10, put $10 in the bank. $10 when you get promoted. Every promotion, the difference between a private and PFC paid, I don't know, this is $100. Put that 100 in because you've been living without that promotion money already. So live with it some more. Every promotion, whatever the pay difference is, bank it. Put in one of the savings accounts that you can't touch. You imagine how much money I would have had after 30 years of doing that every promotion and just keeping that money in there? Makes me angry. Save your money. Go says, do you like rippets? No, I liked them in combat because it was something other than water. They're probably terrible for you. I'm guessing they're not terrible. They're not as bad as some of the other energy drinks, is why the Marine Corps, purchased a contract for them. But they're not bad. The what? The sniper scores. The Marine Corps no longer having snipers. How do I feel about that personally? I still think, again, I've been out for a while, but I think it's a mistake. The snipers, as much as I was on my snipers, I was dogging them. I think you know how I feel about uniforms and uniformity, and I always had the low regs and the out of reg mustache, and they buy the high-speed boots, and they cut their trigger finger off their gloves, and they wore their uniform like snipers. As long as they were in a blind somewhere and taking somebody out, good on you. I don't care if you do it naked. But when you come back to garrison, when you come back to base, when you come back around people, look like a Marine. But for the tactical sense of the sniper, I think it's very, very valuable. Sniper's mission is reconnaissance, is to gain information. So there's snipers out there that spent their whole career as a sniper, never pulled the trigger because that's not always their mission. The sniper, and there's snipers with many, many kills, because that's their mission as well. The idea, from what I understand, just from social media, is because of the drones. It's much safer to send a drone in there in a dangerous area. It can get closer, get photos, it can get all the information that it needs. But personally, I don't like the fact that we got rid of snipers, or tanks for that matter. My personal opinion. I don't care if you do. I don't care if you do it naked. And I've said that before. When they're, I can't. I can't always see the name on there. Ace, thanks for taking down my question. On the guideline, my name is Tim Morris, Poolee at RSS, Upland, California, Marine PLC cadet at Norwich University, Military College of Vermont. End goal is to be a Mustang. Awesome goal. Very cool, very smart. You're going to love it. And Norwich is a great school. So go for it all. And get after it. PLC cadet at Norwich. So you did that in your junior year? I'm guessing summer of your junior year? Or you doing it, must be doing it now. Or are you doing it now than enlisting? Either way, that is an awesome plan. Mustangs make for some of the best Marines. Those of you that don't know, a Mustang is prior enlisted, sometimes goes the warrant officer route or just right to the commissioning route, but they're called a Mustang because they used to be enlisted and now they're officers. Great route to go, great plan, good on you. Stick to it. Brandon Wall, what battalion? I was 3rd Battalion as a recruit, Mike Company, 3rd Herd. And then as a drone instructor, I was 1st Battalion, Bravo Company, Big Red 1, Jared says, I was not a sniper, but was with HNS 324 Scout Snipers. I think dissolving snipers is a terrible idea. I do as well, Jared, I really do. And are they completely dissolved already? Are they going to keep some snipers? Yeah, and I get the point is every Marine is capable of doing sniper stuff. I do have snipers in one of my deployments, and I had some kills with a saw, a 240 saw, because of the circumstances. So can your average 0311 or any Marine do the job of a sniper? Can probably not hit a target at 1,000 meters or more. So that's where we're missing the mark on that. Caruso, were you ground? Dang it, it just disappeared. What did it say? So, great question. As a sergeant major, as you know, as a first sergeant and sergeant major, or for those of you that don't know, you lose your primary MOS. I was a combat engineer. When I became an 8999, used to be 9999 MOS, you lose your primary MOS and you become an 8999, meaning you can serve anywhere. So as a first sergeant, my first duty was a motor T maintenance company. As an engineer, went to a motor T area. Didn't know anything. Well, I mean, you knew the basics. I knew the basics, but I went to the mechanic area where they made Humvee parts out of a piece of metal. So very interesting. Loved it. And then from there, then my next duty station was 2-5, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. So right into the ground side, right into the infantry as a first sergeant. That was awesome. Once I did that, never wanted to leave the infantry. Did 2 deployments with 2-5. Got promoted out of there, which is interesting. Which one? Did you ever spend time in the air wing as a sergeant major? Question. Oh, okay. Yes. I'm sorry. You got me excited with the ground side. Yes, I did. So when I got promoted from first sergeant to sergeant major, my first duty was the air wing. And that's what the sergeant major recruiter told me. He said, look, you spend a lot of time in the infantry as a first sergeant. I need you to see the air side. You have to learn what the air side does. I fought it, to be honest with you. I didn't want to go to the air wing. But once again, I learned some tremendous stuff from the air wing. And bonus, it was in Hawaii. Went to the Marine Corps Air Facility in Marine Corps Base, Hawaii, which changed over a year later to the Marine Corps Air Station, Kaneohe Bay. And it was interesting. Luckily, I had a good master sergeant there that kind of, after a couple of days, had to pull me back. Master Sergeant, I'll think of his name in a minute. But I showed up to the air wing and said, well, formation, the whole squadron, want them out here right now. And in my very first formation, I had about 60 Marines there. And went to Navy with us, the air traffic controllers. And of course, I freaked out. I said, where's everybody? It's 0530. Why is everyone not here? So go get them, go get everybody, go out. I'll stand right here and wait for them. The Master Sergeant Catamon was his name. Master Sergeant Cat. Pull me aside and say, hey, Sergeant Major, look, this is not the infantry. You're not going to get your entire unit all at once. It just doesn't happen in the air wing. I said, BS, I want them all. I said, it doesn't happen like that. They have crew rest, crew days. There's certain FAA regulations that they cannot, because they're pilots and they're mechanics and they work tons of hours. So I figured it out. I luckily, again, he brought me back to reality, and all I did was from that day forward is try to learn from the air wing. So much that I used to dog the mechanics. I'd always see them standing around, had their coveralls, half mast. You know what I'm talking about, you air wingers, firefighters, you take the top off and tie it around your waist. Used to drive me crazy. But again, hanging out with them, hanging out with ARF and the firefighters and all the flight line guys, and figuring out what they do and how much they bust their butt always. And they don't work a regular day. They work extended hours and extremely hard. Whole new respect for the air wing after that. So much I went to the Loadmaster School because they said, you really want to see what we do? Sergeant Major, take, as a Sergeant Major, I went to the Loadmaster's course. Showed up to Fort Worth, Texas, I think, wherever the school is. And as soon as I showed up there, they're like, hey, Sergeant Major, welcome. Who are you here to see? I said, well, I'm checking in. I'm a student. They're like, no, Sergeant Majors don't go to school here. This is for Loadmasters and crew chiefs and whatever other schools they do. I said, is there a rule that says I cannot? They said, well, I guess not. Welcome. Here's your flight suit. Go get in the classroom. So that was cool. It was very cool. Again, learned so much about the air wing that I had never known before. I was a loadmaster for C-20, a couple different platforms, C-40, C-20, C-12. And the what I liked about it also was we had a C-12, what was it, aircraft, Gulfstream 4, or is it a 12-seater or a 24-seater, depending on how I configured it. I was in charge of that and the weight of it. And we made some awesome trips. It was a NATO asset, but it really belonged kind of to the CG of the Pacific. So wherever he had to go, we'd load up the Ghost, a couple passengers, and take off and went all over the world with him, delivering him to the desert many times. Afghanistan, went to Dubai, went to all over the United States. I was still, my first 6 months at the air station, my family was still in California. So anytime they went to North Island, anytime they went to Pendleton, Miramar, I'd always volunteer for that trip. I'd go home and I'd get a couple items. One of the trips back, we were dropping the CG and his crew off, and then we were going to come back empty. So I was like, man, what a great opportunity. I've been trying to get my surfboard from California to Hawaii. Wouldn't fit in a cargo bin, of course. The cargo bin is like this big. It's such a small jet. But I figured, I'm pretty sure I can fit it down the aisle. And since the general's not going to be there, why not? So, of course, after he dropped it off, I fly to my house, drive to my house, get my surfboard, bring it back, load it up. And it was a 9.6 board. It wasn't one of my biggest ones, so it fit. What I didn't know, though, however, is although the CG was staying in California, his aide and her crew were coming back with us. So, of course, the aide gets in, some major, she gets on the plane and sees the surfboard blocking the aisle, and it's hard to get by. And she said, who the hell's brought a surfboard on this plane. You must be out of your mind if the general sees this. And I says, me, ma'am, Sergeant Major Cece, I'm the McCass Sergeant Major, and the general's not coming back with this, so we're going to transport this board. It was a very respectful conversation, but she allowed it. She was angry, but she allowed it because it wasn't her airplane. So we were able to bring it, but pilots were cool with it. Loved being on the Ghost. It was, learned a lot, but also enjoyed it. Some great 18 months in the air wing. I did, that was right around the time I was trying to get to 3rd Marines because they were going back to Afghanistan, and I definitely wanted to get back on that deployment cycle. Crazy to leave such a great job. It was, I could see the break from my office, north, what was it? What's the beach called in Hawaii? What is it? The surf and break in Hawaii. Man, bird crap rock. There's another name for it. But I could see that break. Terrible break for a longboard. But come on, I would just have my board in the back of my truck, and if the waves were decent, I'd fly out there. Man, what was that beach called? North Beach or Officers Beach. I couldn't see from my office, but I mean, come on, it's a 2-minute drive over there, and the waves are usually nice over there. So an amazing tour of duty. My wife still doesn't understand why the heck I would try to get out of there and not spend a full 3 years like a regular PCS. And it's because I had to get to America's Battalion, URAH, and deploy. All right, Makaha. No, Makaha is an awesome surf beach, Carl. Appreciate that. And that was about 20 minutes from my house, but that is an awesome beach, very local. So if you're ever in Hawaii, you want to go to Makaha, find some locals to go with. If not, just don't be an a-hole while you're over there. A beautiful break. Sometimes a little big for me, and always had a side break, so you got to watch out over your shoulder as you're catching a wave on that. But a very, very great beach. Did I surf the pipeline? You think I'm crazy? Those are way too big for me. Again, I'm a longboarder. I'm an old guy. I don't want to die. So I like the shoulder high, every now and then overhead. But again, I'm a longboarder. So I'm not shooting in and out, and I'm not doing the pipe. I'm just cruising like an old dude. I love it. The best beach in Hawaii, White Plains Beach. That's about very close to our house. All my kids have surfed there. They learned how to surf there. Waikiki is another great beginner surf, and both those beaches, they're south facing. So they have waves probably 360 days out of the year. There's always waves there. It is the South Shore, both 20 miles apart, but they're both on the South Shore, and they're constant. They're long, pretty slow waves, depending on the weather, but they're great waves to learn on. The problem with Waikiki, though, is packed with tourists. So you have to have a little bit of skill, unless you go early in the morning like we used to do, 5:30 in the morning, as soon as the sun comes up. Anytime after 7 a.m. in Waikiki, it's packed with tourists that don't know how to surf. And they rent those big boards, and they're taking lessons, and they're all over the place, and boards are flying. So you got to be very, very careful if you go Waikiki. But it's a big enough beach. But there are, when I say it's crowded, I'm talking there's about 200 people in the water. Early in the morning, there's about 10 or 20. So you're good. White Plains, say again. Matthew, best Bridgeport story. Bridgeport, another very challenging TAD. Been there probably about 6 or 7 times. I've never added it up, but with 2.5, I went with the engineers. My first time there was with engineers, and we went to build Levitt Trail. Is that what the trail is called? From base camp to the training area, about a 3-mile trail. We would go as engineers to widen the trail. it would, over time it'd get washed out or brush would grow over it. So the 7th ESB was tasked probably once a year to go over there and just widen that trail, harden the trail, just 94, 95. We were in Camp Pendleton at that time, probably one of my trips. So we would do that. We'd go there to work. In fact, let me back up. The very first time ESB went is we got rid of all the donkey stables when they stopped using the donkeys for travel. So that was one trip. Next trip was to widen the trail. And every time we went, we did work first, and then we got to do some training, some rock climbing. In the winter, we got to do some snow work. So very cool introduction to Bridgeport. Love it. Absolutely love Bridgeport. Then later on, I went to the summer mountain leaders course first, I believe. Went to the summer, which again, a lot of rock climbing, 100-foot cliffs. Learned a lot, some free climbs. That means with no ropes. Dangerous but fun, adrenaline pumping. Yes. And then I did the winter mountain leaders course also. One I went to as a sergeant, one as a staff sergeant, and it's a smaller group, about 25 Marines, all infantry. I was the only non-infantry both times. One of them in summer, I think I was only sergeant. The rest were staff NCOs and officers. But both great classes, right? And you had to take classes. You had to learn about the weather, the clouds, the temperature, the food, how to kill a rabbit and eat it, how to fish, survival skills, cold weather training, mini seer training evolutions. Winter was the one where I think I told that story already. I was so cold trying to put my hands in my pocket and my left hand wouldn't go all the way in. I finally looked down, my pinky was hanging out. Thought I broke it off because I was just trying to jam my hands in my pocket. Nothing worse than being that freezing cold and having to, you still have to boil water. You can't just eat snow. And after a 10-day field op, you run out of water pretty quick, so you have to melt all your snow to cook with, to warm your body. So taking your gloves off is miserable. All the while, the instructors are attacking you because you're in the field, you're in a combat environment. So very tough. Going as a battalion, similar, but now you're with a battalion-sized element, probably 800 or 900 Marines. So you're doing all these same things as platoons, as a headquarters element, as a first sergeant. That's difficult as well, moving that size of an element through the mountains, all right, through knee-high and chest-high snow, snowshoes, skiing. I skied growing up, so I already knew I had a hang of skiing and never downhill ski where your back heel is free. But that was exciting to learn as well. And then the last day of the winter mountain leaders course, we spent a couple days in Big Bear, Mount Shasta we climbed. Yes, here is a winter mountain leaders course story that I didn't think I would survive. It was crevasse training. Those of you that don't know what a crevasse is, you got 100 feet of snow on top of a mountain. When the sun comes out, it heats up the mountain and starts to melt the snow underneath. So what it does, it weakens the snow, and the lower half of the snow starts to push away from the top. So it creates that crevasse, and some are a couple 100 feet deep. So crevasse training, we had to hike all over to look for a crevasse first. We finally find one. Now we have to practice escaping a fall into a crevasse. And there's a YouTube video where a guy actually fell into it. He actually was skiing and fell into it. Well, none of us fell into one, but we had to know how to get out in case we did fall in. So it was one of those simulated training. And I'm a bigger guy, so the instructor, of course, British Royal Marines Sergeant Major, used to pick on me because I was the biggest guy. He'd say, all right, Cece, you're the first one in it. And my partner, everybody's buddied up, battle buddy, had a little Marine lieutenant was my partner. And he said, here, I'm going to show you that it's possible for this lieutenant to haul his big butt out of a crevasse. So we were all tied in together. He said, jump into the crevasse. I wasn't jumping into no crevasse. I was shimmying up to him. He said, jump into the crevasse. You're supposed to be tough. You're a Marine. You're falling. You're simulating falling. You wouldn't slide easily down into the crevasse. Shimmying a little more and looking down, and it's far. And there's a bottom to it, but he said, don't trust that bottom. It's a false bottom. It's just iced over. It still goes down about another 100 feet. So now I really want to jump into it. Shimming up to the end again, and all of a sudden I feel the back of his crampon, his spikes, kicked me in the back, and I went flying into the crevasse. Kind of bounced off the other wall. I had a rope, and eventually my partner caught me, and he was sliding off the crevasse. There's methods, to anchor yourself. And then you hook up a pulley system with your ropes and all the gear and issue that they taught us how to use, a pulley device. So he pulls a foot, and I go about 2 inches. Because of my weight and my backpack and my skis and snowshoes, I weighed even more. So for this guy, this lieutenant, to pull me up, there's a two pulley system, a 4 pulley, and I don't know if all the terminology I still remember, but he ended up doing like a 12-point pulley system. So when he pulled 2 feet, I went about a half an inch. You'd have to dig down, pull again. I went about that far. So I was down in that crevasse forever. And what the color sergeant would remind me of while I was down there, he said every now and then when the sun heats up the mountain enough, that's what separates it. But if it heats it up, continues to heat it up, that's also what closes the crevasse. So be aware. Let us know if you see the other side of the crevasse coming at you. And all the while, again, I'm in a harness that's cutting off the circulation to my legs, my chest, my arms, just hanging there waiting for this guy to pull me back up. Again, a great learning lesson that day. Pick a bigger partner, someone that is your size. But great training. Ask him what? JWTC, that's right. Matthew Askren. Where you at? Where you at, Matthew? Ask the question again. Matthew, you asked about Bridgeport. Awesome. Awesome time. Awesome group of Marines. The instructors are phenomenal. Working with the British Royal Marine, that was my first experience, and they're tough as hell. He dogged us pretty much every day. British Color Sergeant had a lot of fun with you. Yes, he did. Again, he was tough as nails. He'd be, again, up at 4:30 in the morning on top of Mount Shasta, 14,000 feet we climbed, and he was up and yelling at us, you're supposed to be Marines, you're supposed to be tough. Look at you, you're embarrassing. He called us some names I won't repeat on this channel, but he definitely was hard as nails. Lieutenant was one heck of a partner. He was a good dude, Z-Ping. He was. It wasn't his fault. I weighed 250 pounds, but he was good. He had even fallen at one time. We were doing buddy climbs. You have to climb 10 feet, put in some protection, continue to climb. He was a climber. This dude could have scaled the whole 100-foot wall with no ropes. Great at climbing. But to pass the test and earn your certification as a Mike 7 Alpha, you had to put in protection at a certain period of time. And luckily he was small because we just started out. It was the test. He climbed 10 feet and was going to go like 2 more feet before he put in his protection. And he missed. The granite had come off and he fell those 10 feet, and I was belaying him. But luckily I was able to kind of catch him and break his fall. He was out for a couple of days, but he continued. Some hardcore instructors. It was good. Bridgeport was good. If you ever get a chance to go there. Awesome experience. Another TAD trip I volunteered for. Right, turned out to be phenomenal. So that volunteerism. So that was winter. And again, it ended up 3 days. I think we're at Big Bear. We spent 3 days in the cabanas. That was like our final culmination, and just got to downhill ski for free, I guess, the whole time. It was beautiful. Summer, on the other hand, similar. That was a lot more climbing, just climbing. Again, free climb, rescue climbs, and crossing rivers. The river in Bridgeport, again, is obviously the melted snow that goes through. We had to learn how to cross that river on a one-man or a one-rope retrievable bridge, because once you cross it, you got to take your rope with you. That was pretty amazing. We did it at night. I happened to be the squad leader that day, and that really, really sucked, getting 12 men across a rope because it stretches. It's at night. You can't yell. Communication was tough. And I was the last man. I rigged the rope to be retrievable. By the time I went across, that rope had stretched so much. I was pulling, and all of a sudden I was underwater, freezing cold water. Whose question? All right. Any Sergeant Major, Rodney Robbins, stories or memories? Rodney Robbins? Man, remind me, Matthew. Sergeant Major Robbins. Where do I know him from? Sergeant Major Robbins. I'm drawing a blank right now. Brandon says, knowledge, you went to Okinawa out of Hawaii. Knowledge. How about SEER school? Never made it to SEER school. Loved to, wanted to. We had, again, a condensed version. Oh, all right. Would love to gone to SEER school. What do you do with blisters from boots? Good one. I told you I got some Fred Flintstone feet. Those of you who don't know who Fred Flintstone is, and from the cartoonies, they're all barefoot back in the caveman days. I have feet like that. I can put on a brand new set of boots. I might get a blister or two, get some hot spots, and I hate to say it, I power through them. But that's not the right answer. You have to take care of them. You got to clean your feet. You'll get to know docs, corpsmen, if you don't know. First question is they always ask you, Doc, my shoulder hurts. Have you changed your socks? As funny as that is crucial. You have to take care of your feet. You get a blister in boot camp. What I noticed, the kids that didn't take care of their blisters because they didn't want to be weak and they didn't want to miss training. They didn't want to get thrashed. We call it a light duty commando. You don't take care of a blister, it gets infected, turns into cellulitis. So take care of your feet. Moleskin. And boot camp, that's maddest. And boot camp, what the drill instructors taught us, excuse me, was to wear your dress socks and then your boot socks over your dress socks. So your dress sock is slick and the rubbing happens in between the socks, not your sock and your heel. Which one? Jungle rot in Iraq. So Iraq was different, Iraq and Afghanistan, because all the canals. So we had some foot injuries in Iraq and Afghanistan. It doesn't even compare to Vietnam. I'm sure you hear the story about jungle rot. I never saw anybody in Iraq or Afghanistan with jungle rot, but we did go through a bunch of set of boots. I told you I love the rat boot. I don't remember what it stands for. The rat boot was great, comfortable, but they're not very durable because of the constant in and out of the canals. And the water, we put them out in the sun to dry in the summer, blazing hot. They dry very quickly, but they got dry rot very quickly, and they would tear apart. So another one, Anderson cellulitis in boot camp, not fun experience. So take care. You got to get them drained, get your blisters drained, and taken care of, clean. You got to keep them clean. Huge. Matthew's asking about Sergeant Major McKenna stories. Paul McKenna, great Marine. We did have it out a few times. Of course, he would always win because he was a regimental sergeant major and I was a battalion sergeant major. So I lost that battle every time. But I did let him know how I felt. And I think the respect went both ways because I let him know. A funny one was, kind of funny. We are getting ready to do a memorial, so that's the non-funny part of it. And he's a sergeant major, so he's big on sergeant major things, like police calls and grass and trash around your area and your barracks, all the important things, the discipline part. Very good. All the things that apply to a first sergeant major. Get off my grass. It's always a sergeant major, you know that. So I was with the families. We did a little memorial service. We were at the Iwo Jima Memorial on Kaneohe Bay, and I get a phone call, and it's Sergeant Major McKenna. So of course, it's got to be emergency. He knows what I'm doing. I answer, excuse myself. Hey, Sergeant Major, what do you got? He's like, hey man, I just want you by your battalion area. and your grass is really long. I'm like, Sergeant Major, you know where I'm at right now? Yeah, I know you're with the family, but you got to send somebody back here and get the grass cut. So you're out of your damn mind. With the family right now, grass is the least of, he said, it's got to be important all the time. Hung up on him. And I knew a butt chewing would be following, and I knew I was wrong because the grass should have been cut. But we had some things going on during that time, and I did make it a low priority. It was a service from a fallen Marine, and from our last deployment, and he had a big family because mom and dad divorced. There was a lot of people there. I was entertaining them, and we were memorializing this young, awesome Marine who didn't make it back. So my disrespect, if you will, was, again, not justified. I could have handled it differently, but caught me off guard. That's the kind of Marine that McKenna was. So he said, very well. Dropped it because he knew the importance of it. And then, of course, we discussed it later, and I apologized for disrespecting him over the phone. Wasn't in front of anybody. Nobody knew, but we were able to discuss it. Man to man, Sergeant Major to Sergeant Major. Again, me knowing my place, and as I was working for him. So Sergeant Major McKenna, intense. He was an era Sergeant Major. Great Marine. The what? How many stories start with, I knew a butt chewing would be fine. Yeah. It's coming. I knew it was coming. It was worth it. Man, talking through it, I'm telling you, XP. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Now get off my grass. Amen. Still to this day, I don't walk on the grass. And it hurts me to see civilians walking across the grass. Somebody's got to maintain that grass. Take care of it. That's what sidewalks are for. Painting rocks, Jared, painting the rocks white around the chow hall at Camp Johnson, North Carolina, at the request of the Sergeant Major. The bottoms too, Jared. Did you get the bottoms? The whole rock needs to be painted. Painting the parking lines. Come on, who's never swept a parking lot or mopped a parking lot? Mopped the grass. So those of you in Marine Corps Base Hawaii, for a while there, the sergeants major of each battalion or wing or all the sergeants major had a ticket book from the MPs. So we are authorized to give parking tickets. No driving tickets. Were we? I can't remember if I don't think we could give talking and driving. Talking on cell phone. Anyway, so I was that guy who would hide in the annex parking lot area and wasn't hiding. I was shopping there as well. But I would see those guys that parked on the red curb, okay, which is emergency vehicles, parking in the grass. They figured if they pulled above the curb and past the red curb in the grass, that was also a parking spot. No, it wasn't. That annex parking was the smallest parking lot on the entire base. Everyone wanted to park there. 2 handicap spots, and the rest of it was red curves, so people, again, would pull up and over. That was me with the ticket book, just waiting. Oh, sorry, I was just running because the stores that were there was the dry cleaners and the tailor shop, and the barber. So those 3 shops, you just got to run in real quick. There was an ATM machine there as well. The exchange itself, usually when those are families that park, they park in a real spot and they go in and shop. But it was the young Marines who would just stop in there real quick, just going to run in and get my dry cleaning. Illegally parked. Yes, that was me, writing all those tickets. They stopped giving it to the ticket book to the sergeant's major for some reason. Maybe I had something to do with that. I was writing some tickets. So if I gave you a ticket, sorry, not sorry. You shouldn't have parked there. You need a little exercise. So you should have parked across the street. Now they had a huge parking lot right across the street. Don't make such a rush. Plan better. Time management. That was fun having that ticket book. Remember the movie rental shop? Was the movie rental shop there as well? XP, I got lit up and told I was going to give a new meaning to the ground pound, and subsequently was told to straighten all the signage around the barracks and parking lot. Yes, that's a good task. What I used to like on K-Bay as well, when Marines got in trouble, I don't remember what unit was doing this, but they stopped it. It had to be 3rd Marines. When Marines got in trouble, underage drinking, DUI, whatever the story is, Mattis wants to join in on this. They would get a sandwich board sign that they had to make themselves, stand at the gate in the uniform of the day. I think sometimes at Charlie's, Alphas maybe, stand at the main gate, don't drink and drive. No talking and driving on your cell phone. No underage drinking. Send a powerful message, if you ask me. For some reason, they stopped doing it. I'm not sure why. 132333, Kaneohe Bay, Carl, Era. Bougainville. What year were you there, Carl? We're in Hawaii for about 6 years. In 3-3. What years were you there, Carl? Love Kaneohe Bay. Love 3rd Marines. 112 too. Great artillery unit. Did a lot of things with them. A lot of deployments. Big Island. A lot of Big Island tours. 80 to 86, Carl. Just missed you, buddy. It was before my time. Our first time there was 92. Yeah, first time there was 92. 90, 92, 94. That's when I left for the drill field from Hawaii. Excuse me, Matthew. Thoughts on the documentary, Ears Open, Eyeballs Click? You know, I haven't seen the whole thing. I saw parts of it. What do you think? Was it good? Is it worth watching? Ears open, eyeballs click, sir. That's an everyday thing on the drill field, and that's something else hard to not say to Marines when you leave the drill field. Let it go, man. Ears, such a good attention getter. I never watched it all the way through. I watched some boot camp stuff. The DI, obviously, is one of the greatest movies I've seen with Jack Webb. The newer following DIs, and they did a documentary on us once. I'd never even seen the one that they did with Bravo Company, 1st Recruit Training Battalion. But they're good. I think they're all pretty good, especially when it's, now, you know, cameras are there, just like anything else. So there is some behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't do. Not that they're illegal or immoral, but it's just the intensity isn't always captured. But I need to watch it. I'll check it out. Let me know what you think of it. Is it worth watching? Nasty. That's not one of the things you can call a recruit. There's 4 things. Recruit, last name by his billet, and nasty is not one. I was reminded a few times of that by my series commander. Professionally reminded with the yellow sticky and somewhere in my duty hut. Not one of the things. Worth watching for sure. Got it, Matthew. Where can I find it? YouTube? Netflix? Definitely going to watch it. I have heard about it. Great boot camp information. Who is my series commander? Captain Poolee. Anybody know him? Colonel Poolee now, and retired. Awesome Marine. He, I told a story about it. I don't remember when, but he was a series commander. Became a company commander. I think after I left, he was a series commander though. Learned a lot. One of those guys that asked a lot of questions. A very sincere leader. He didn't. He was on our team, on the drill instructors team, and I had some series commanders down there who were trying to. We called them headhunters, trying to get drill instructors in trouble. It felt like. And they were headhunters. They'd like peek in the windows and see what you're doing, try and listen what you're saying. Captain Paulie wasn't like that. He was a sincere leader that just wanted to learn and wanted to be the best series commander for us, wanted to help protect us. But he was, again, that's the kind of, I don't even remember what I called the recruits, what I was saying to them, but I obviously said it enough that he brought it up in that very professional way. And he literally left a sticky, went in my office after we left the house and, hey, senior, when did they add pig to the 4 things you can call a recruit? I wasn't aware of that type of note. And every now and then he would leave those around the house, just reminding me to bring it back in. Watch the drill instructors do the right thing. I did allow him, I think if any of you remember the story, all he wanted to do, well, he wanted to wear a smoky, but he also wanted to drill the platoon. And we all know officers can't drill. So he would show me, he said, look, I could do it, forward, march, and he would give commands. I was like, yeah, one day. But that's a no-no on the drill field. Officers don't march the recruits. So it was my final drill. Every time he would follow us, he'd march, senior, I could do it, let me do it. No way, sir, no. Final drill. My last cycle, I was leaving, I was PCSing after this. We did well, final drill, we took first place. Very last second, usually, the senior drill instructor falls him out, the junior drill instructor falls him in, you go back to the house. So I said fall out, the juniors said fall in, they formed up, and the juniors looking at me like Greenbelt's like, take him back to the house. I said, no, wait a minute. Captain Paulie, go ahead. On the parade deck. He's like, no. Like Pee Wee Herman when he got to drive for the first time. He said, really? Take him back, sir. Walked out there, forward, march, low. He started sing-songing. He was strutting. I let him do it for about a minute or two. I was like, all right, that's it, halt him. Boom. He said, oh my God, thank you so much. Killed it. Here's the best part of the story. There were so many haters. Oh my God, I can't believe you let an officer march the recruits, and you out of your damn mind, and what's the matter with you? I got my butt chewed. Again, one of those things I know I'm going to get my butt chewed, but, and then we kept in contact kind of throughout the years. Not a whole lot. Ran into him once or twice, but we were at MCRD about 6 months ago watching the graduation. We happened to be there, and sure enough, sitting in the row right in front of me, Colonel Paulie. And of course, the first thing we talk about was he said, remember when I marched the platoon on final drill and I killed it, sing song and everything? Absolutely, yes. Yes, I do remember. That was awesome. Funny. Awesome. Nice touch anyway. Where's our boot camp? Soon to go to boot camp. What's the name? William? You still here with us? William is still here? What kind of questions you have? Soon to go to boot camp. Tips to get honor grad. Anybody else got any tips to be honor grad? Right? Zing ping. How could you forget about that? Made his day. He owes me for that. William, there you are. All right, what do you got? What kind of questions you have? Ask the community. Centuries worth of knowledge here in this community right here. Community of warriors. And here's what we all have in common. Boot camp. Different MOSs, different lifestyles, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different genders, everything. But we have one thing in common. Boot camp and OCS for the officers out there. Learn to make a good rag before going. Yep. Hospital corners, quicker you can make it. 18 inches of white, 6-inch fold, 12 inches of white. Pillow, perfect at all times. The 45-degree angle corner. My SDI told us that a company commander was on the Don't Ask, Don't Tell program. How did you stay motivated in boot camp, William? Great question. And personally, for me and everyone else, please join in. I hated it the first week. Again, I even asked my buddy, I went on a buddy program, how do we get out of this? That's how bad it is. That's how bad the culture shock is in the very beginning. We looked at the airport and I considered the fence. That's how bad the first week is. Had no idea what I was getting myself into. And then as a young man that didn't, I was tired of being yelled at and seeing some people that were worse off than me. That motivated me to want to do well, to eventually help them out. Like, bro, really? It's not that bad. And by talking to them about it, I kind of just tricked myself into it's really not that bad. And somebody mentioned it last week is drone instructors can make life miserable for you. They can everything, have the power, they're inhuman, but they can't stop time. So you know it's going to end, right? And my motivation, I think a lot of people's motivation is you judge time off meal times, chow times. Because one, you're hungry, and two, you get to sit down for a minute. And again, those in my era, chow was also a stressful moment, but they had to give you time to eat. Granted, it was probably 7 minutes, but they had to leave you alone for a few minutes. Now I think boot camp, even talking to my daughter, there is no stress in the chow hall. Because chow hall used to be chaos, 100%. The drone instructors, DIs would eat before or after or at the end of the day, because the meals or mealtime was stress. I have a short or two on that, so check back on the channel later and see the stuff that used to go on in the chow hall. Chow time, right? He's right. It's a short break, and again, you actually got to sit down, and no stress. Because I think now though it is a little more calm and tame, just so I don't know, cadets, recruits don't choke and die or something, but it is an opportunity that you can relax for a minute. So meal to meal. Mornings, I think I told you, was the worst time for me. Every single morning, I think until as long as I can remember, till graduation morning, I hated it. I was like, good God, another day. Because they're long days. You don't come back to the barracks and chill. It's nonstop. You're training or in a classroom, meal, training, classroom, meal, swim, obstacle course. It's just nonstop. Towards the end, of course, you're getting uniforms ready, cleaning rifles. Obviously, after you fire them, that's a time to chill and clean rifles. Also a time for the drone instructors to thrash you. So how do you stay motivated? Know at the end of 13 weeks, you're going to receive that Eagle Globe and Anchor and be called a United States Marine. That's your motivation. 100%. One of my other favorite memes I saw somebody saying, I chose Marines so I can talk trash the rest of my life. Once a Marine, always a Marine. So no, at the end of the day, those drone instructors, as much as it seems like they hate you, they're making you part of the world's finest. One of my drone instructors, Sergeant Taylor, I was convinced that he hated me. And here's what made me think that. He would tell me that every single day. I hate your MF guts, is really what he said every day. You think, and he was a little skinny, scrawny dude. I could have broke him in half. I didn't know that back then because he was a giant. But he would tell me every day, I hate your MF guts. I hate you. And he whispered in my ears. And I was like, man, what did I do? I even snitched on him one time and told the senior drone instructor, I think the drone instructor hates me. And of course, he told Sergeant Taylor, and I just got thrashed even more for telling on him, and he hated me even more. Saw him later, of course, when we're both Marines, best of friends. He was doing a job, and that's what they need to do. They're going to do whatever it takes to make you a United States Marine. So know that, Matthew. Motivation, everything you do is for a reason. Did I lose sound? Did I lose sound, anyone? Sitting cross-legged. I think I did a short about that. Native American style, Indian style. Sitting in the classroom for an hour, your legs fall asleep. Why in the heck? Crisscross applesauce. Sitting like that is miserable, especially for us bigger guys. Hated it. And then when we got up north to sit on the rifle range and qualify in the sitting position, that's why they tortured us by sitting like that every single day. Everything you do is for a reason. Doesn't seem like it at the time. Seems like it's just a reason to thrash you, and sometimes it is. But everything you do is for training value. Who was it? What was the question? Comment? Oh, Z. Same thing happened to my son. When it came time to receive his EGAs, Eagle Globe and Anchor, my son chose the same sergeant to hand him his. Awesome. Again, as much as you hate them at the time, that's what they're doing. They're making you Marines. But amazing the feeling. I had very fortunate to have run into all my drill instructors after boot camp. One was immediate. The newest drill instructor, the J, or the new hat, he came to us late. Sergeant Stewart was the youngest drill instructor on the West Coast at the time. Remember, he wore braces, he stuttered, big white ugly dude, spit when he talked. He just looked like a big, bad, scary Marine. He didn't stutter when he yelled though. And he had an amazing sing-song when he would march and call cadence. Hated him and loved him. Would thrash me every single day. Saw him immediately after boot camp. Like, I think I was on recruit leave or going to my next duty station. Somehow I ended up back at MCRD. I don't know, with my family or something. I was walking across the parade deck, showing my family, and all of a sudden I hear, Nasty, get off the freaking parade deck. Is that you, Cece? I was like, oh my God. Where is he? And he was in top deck of one of the regimental buildings, saw me. It was like God. It came a voice out of nowhere. Never escaped. Another one of my drill instructors, Sergeant Loiza, saw him later on. He was a master sergeant. I was a gunnery sergeant. We were both working at a staff NCO academy, different ones, but we met in Missouri. It was awesome to see him and hang out with him and tell boot camp stories. And then my senior drill instructor, I moved on his street in Camp Pendleton as a sergeant major. He was a sergeant major. I was a first sergeant, and then I got selected to sergeant major, and he was at my promotion. My senior drill instructor pinned me to sergeant major, him and along with my wife, my senior drill instructor. Pretty amazing. So small corps. When people say that, it truly is. Small world, smaller Marine Corps. So awesome. Good times. Sergeant Llewellyn. Jared, you remember Sergeant Llewellyn? Crazy. He was awesome. Learned a lot from him. 1991. He was Sergeant Llewellyn. He was 91, yes, because he got there before me. So wait a minute, is that the same Sergeant Llewellyn? Yeah. Senior Director Staff Sergeant Tagliabue. Man, when was that? Because I know a Sergeant Major Tagliabue. Is that the same one? Brandon Wall, what year was he a drill instructor? Small corps, I'm telling you. And unfortunately, I'm terrible with names, better with faces when I don't have my wife there to help me identify who these people are. Man, I do know a Tagliabue. So one of my drill instructors, push a recruit, head over heels, over his footlocker. We didn't see that DI for a while after that. So unfortunately, yes, that happens too. I did have when I was a brand new drill instructor, our J, it was that Black Friday. Remember, after you get picked up for the first time, the senior gives a speech, and then he turns the DIs loose on you. Drill instructors, take charge of your recruits and train them to be United States Marines. We all say, aye, senior drill instructor. Senior takes off, goes inside, does all the paperwork, and the other green belts, shark attack. We just thrash these guys. And we're thrashing them, dumping footlockers and sea bags and gears all over the place, making it rain, dusty. It was, your average pickup day. But he had pushed a rack and it hit a kid's ankle. I don't think he broke it, but it did injure him. The recruit was taken away. The drill instructor was taken away. Unfortunate because it was an accident, and he was a great drill instructor. Triangle, repeat your, did you just go through recently? Talk to us, put it up there again. Brent says, my drill hat pinned me as a sergeant in the fleet. Very cool. How awesome is that? It is. Just, again, when you, first time you see them or you hear them or you meet them, you're like, oh yeah, wait a minute, we're both Marines now. If you can access the yearbooks, you'll find him, 2073 Echo Company. I'll check, Jared. I don't know if, I'm sure online we can check. Giovanni, do you have a plan to create a curriculum instructional to prepare new gens to join the Marines? Just giving you a new use case. It's a great idea, Giovanni. Recruiters do a fantastic job, but they're busy finding more recruits. Brandon says he was a tall guy, about 6'3" or so, dark green. We still say that. He was a black Marine. Sergeant Llewellyn. I don't remember him being 6'3" though. Yeah, I don't think it was the same one. Yeah, he might have been. Yeah, he definitely wasn't 6'3". Might have been 6 foot 5'10". I'll give him that. He's taller than me. 6 foot, maybe. Was part of the 50th anniversary of Iwo Jima, did a beach landing on that black volcano, San Carl. For real, at Iwo Jima? I wasn't at the 50th. Man, wow. What year was that? Because I re-enlisted on an anniversary on top of Mount Suribachi. I don't remember what anniversary I was at. 1st Marine Division was out there. They did a whole, the old guys dressing in the 83. I was going to say, because I think I did like 65. I think I was there for the 65th anniversary. Re-enlisted on top. I don't remember the exact date, but it was with Commandant and Sergeant Major. Pretty awesome. On top, they let us hike up. Of course, it kicked our butt, and we took the easy route. We weren't being shot at and bombed, and we didn't have all their gear. We weren't climbing up the side of it, but it was an eye-opener, pretty humbling. Walking the beach, yes, the knee-high volcanic black sand, the ash. That was hard just walking on the beach. Again, I can't even imagine fighting in that, carrying gear, carrying injured Marines or gearing equipment just to find a safe place. Again, all while being shot at and Marines dying around you, making it to the hard surface, which was more volcanic ash, still being shot at, still trying to return fire, and then to make it all the way on top of Mount Suribachi, amazing. Truly amazing warriors. And that's why we talk about it. Yeah, we don't, what our forefathers did, the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that they put themselves through for the good of America, to just roll over right now and let our country go to crap. Don't let it happen. I refuse to let it happen. Carl Green said, did they show you the tunnels? Yes, sir. We went through many of the tunnels. 99% of them were obviously blocked off. We didn't get to go any. Went a couple feet into some of the taller tunnels. Saw the holes where the tunnel rats came out of. We even found ordnance while we were there. Had to call EOD to come check it out. We saw some weapons, parts. We got a pretty good tour of the island while we were there. It was with the Commandant, Sergeant Major, so we got the VIP treatment. But pretty amazing, the level of tunnels that I hadn't even imagined. Miles and miles and miles of tunnels that they lived in for years and years. So not only, they weren't just tunnels, there were cities under there. They had kitchens, they had an infirmary, they had head facilities, sleeping facilities. They dug out into the side of the volcano. Those were their racks that they slept in. They lived down there. So it wasn't just tunnels like I imagine, tunnels that they walk through and find an opening and poke their head out and shoot. They lived in there. They lived and died in there. Had doctors down there and nurses and cooks, and just like being on ship. They had everything that they needed to live down there and just continue to dig and dig. So even though we bombed the hell out of them for weeks and weeks and weeks, we did no damage because they were so far dug in. Living down there, they had prepared for that. So that was an eye-opener for us that, yes, we bombed them, and they knew. They just waited. Sat inside their tunnel. You imagine the stench down there, though, and the heat from cooking and using the bathroom. Maybe it might be cool in there, down deep in the earth, but it's volcanic. I don't know. I'm just thinking about the cooking, and you know they all smoke, so it had to be terrible. Tagliabue. That's the 6'3" I was talking about. Oh, Tagliabue was 6'3". I thought you meant the one. Who? Well, Holy. Dang. Holy, send it again, please. I just missed it. Stone Age game. What should I start reading, and how exactly is that Chesty Puller Award won at MCRD San Diego? A couple books to read. First of all, Stone Age, the Bible. Always read the Bible. To get you ready for boot camp, a couple of different ones. A Message to Garcia, I talk about quite a bit, about initiative. Short read. Good book for after is Crisis of Command. That's more leadership type stuff. Check the Commandant's reading list. I think this is still pretty accurate. Tons of Marine books to read, but for sure A Message to Garcia. Again, it's all about initiative. It's a very short read. Stone Age. Chesty Puller Award on MCRD, San Diego. So my daughter won the Molly Marine Award on Paris Island. And I got to tell you, she was prepared before she went. I passed her before. She painted on the top of her roof her general orders. What else did she have? Oh, Holy. I'm about to finish my option 40 contract, and I don't know what to do once I'm out. Your advice. Okay, you got to tell me what the option 40 contract is. I'm not sure what that is. It must be new. Option 40 contract. I don't know what to do once I'm out. So, how many years did you do? Tell me what the contract is briefly, and we'll talk about the transition. Carlos Hathcock, sniper. Yeah, you're thinking of the Army guy. Carlos Hathcock, the sniper. Most confirmed kills. Is that still accurate? He's got the most? Stone Age, learn how to do things before you go. Brandon, yes, Brandon, good advice. Learn how to do things before you go. Make a rack properly, 18 inches wide, 45 degrees. Yes, all those things. The more you know before you go. Again, that's my daughter went prepared. Physical fitness was up. She didn't have any problem with that. She knew how to drill. She was in JROTC for 4 years, so that's what helped. Living with the Marine, maybe that had something to do with it, but she lived it. She learned it. She knew the lingo, knew the language, knew the option 40 is Army. Hungry for the honor grad. Stone Age, get after it. Brother, I'm telling you, and there's going to be more recruits that are after it. So don't stop, never quit. You got to be better than all of them. Somebody's got to get it. You need a guide and 4 squad leaders. So 5 top recruits in every platoon. But you want the honor grad. So the stick, work the stick. As a drill instructor, a little secret here. First guy I would pick would be the biggest or the toughest looking. Just to, again, he got to help the DIs real quick and take charge. If he was the biggest but he was the softest, you're done. You have to be able to take charge right off the bat. Don't be timid and shy and hang out in the back. There's recruits at the end of the 3 months, I'd be like, hey, I don't recognize you. because they hide in the back. Never do anything wrong, but they never get out and lead and push themselves. So get out and lead and learn as much as you can. Excuse me. Ask the questions. Talk to other recruits when you can, when you have the option to. But you have to push yourself. No days off, right? Just like working out. No days off. You can't have a bad day, right? That bad day you have in boot camp is the day you get fired. Whether you get hired again or not, up to you. When you get knocked down, get right back up. I got fired one time. Here's a funny story. In the chow hall, I was reporting the platoon out of chow. We're all done eating. The guide's the last one. When the guide's done, you're done. All the DIs sitting on the back table, talking trash about all of us, of course. And you have to go march in, boom, stop in front of your DI. And you can't make eye contact, so you got to eyeball it first, make your way over there, stop, report in. Sir, platoon, whatever. Chow complete. And they tell you something like, shut your mouth, get out of here, nasty, get him outside. When I marched in there and reported to my drill instructor, the drill instructor next to him said, did you just step off with your right foot? Of course, I said, no, sir. He said, yes, you did. You called me a liar. I was in one of the no-win situations. So he said, you better not lie. Did you step off with your right foot? No, sir. Lie to me again. Yes, sir, I did. Oh, really? You step off with the right foot? So he sent me away. My drill instructor sent me away, told me to do it again. So I took off, stepped off with the correct foot, the left foot first, pivot, boom, reported in. Same thing. The other drill instructor, oh, you did it again. Really, God, you don't know what foot to step off on? Again, a battle I just wasn't going to win. I tried to fight for a little bit. No, I did not. This recruit stepped off with the correct foot. No, you didn't. You liar. We just went back and forth. My drill instructor came around, ripped off the brassard. The guy who wears a brassard with your platoon number on it, 3082, URAH. Ripped it off. Said, get out. You'll never see this thing again. Step off with the right foot. What's the matter with you? Fired me. So I just knew, though, in the back of my mind, when the senior comes in, Big Daddy will come save me, right? He'll see that I'm fired. So he fired me. So I get the platoon outside. We're all ready to go back to the house. I'm still in the guide position. And the drill instructor comes out. What are you doing up there, guide? I fired you. Yes, sir. And he, of course, grabbed the weakest recruit that we had and somewhere that everyone just knew. I don't know if this guy's going to make it, but he made him the guide and made me march in the back of the platoon. There I'm the 6 foot and I'm barking in the little end. I was like, all right, okay, as soon as I get back to the house, the senior's going to save me. I know it. He's got to. I didn't even make a mistake. The drill instructor was messing with me. Get back to the house. We spend whatever afternoon training. Still wasn't the guide. I wasn't getting the count. I wasn't doing the guide things. I was like, man, then the senior comes on deck that evening. I'm like, thank God. It's like, oh, what'd you do, guide? You got fired, huh? Nasty. Get in the pit. He thrashed me. My senior drill instructor thrashed me for getting fired. And I even tried to explain to him, like, there's a misunderstanding between the drill instructors and myself. You don't explain stuff like that. So he thrashed me. I was like, it's good. All right. Maybe he's going to wait till later tonight to hire me back. I go to get in my guide rack, which is not a bunk bed, and that's how we did it. And he's like, no, get all your trash, empty your footlocker, move to the back of the squad bay. I was like, wow, I really am fired. That's that day that the motivation just completely left my body. All for nothing. I've been busting my butt all this time for nothing. Get up the next morning. Still, I had the fire watch wake me up early because that's what I did as the guide. I'd have him wake me up early. So I'd be up and dressed and ready to go when the drill instructor came out of the hatch. I was already ready to go. He still did all that. Sure enough, the senior was the first one out. What are you doing, guy? You got a green Reveille? You're not the guy no more. Still on me. It's like, ain't no way. He went back in the duty hut, but I still was acting like the guide. And I think that was that. No matter how hard you get knocked down, it's if you get back up again. And I never quit. He ended up rehiring me back later in the day. And knowing later on in life that's all that was a test, right? Was I going to quit and give up because I got fired? Even though I really did nothing wrong, it didn't matter. I wasn't going to win that battle. I fought that battle for a little bit, I should have learned sooner, maybe that I'm not going to win this one. This is a test of fortitude. And I just kept powering through it. Anytime I got fired a couple more times throughout for mistakes that I was making, but not something that none of us made. We all make mistakes all through boot camp, but it's how you react to it, right? I could have easily gave up that day, but I powered through. Sucked it up. Right? If a corpsman was there, he'd have said, "Did you change your socks? Now suck it up," and I would have been fine. Some critical, or some children know what they want to do. Only God knows when they make the decisions. Amen. Giovanni. Doc Holiday, what's happening? Let the good Lord guide you. Amen, brother. Amen and amen. Where you been, Doc? Have I missed you on here? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Devil Doc. The good Lord will guide you. Amen. Thanks, Zing Ping. Great story. I was miserable. I never, and I doubted myself forever. Did I step off with the right foot instead of the correct foot? Was I stepping off with the wrong foot? Even when I got back to the house, I was like going over it in my mind. Man, what was I doing wrong? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That was still every now and then. It was a mind, yes, playing a mind game with me. Step off with my right foot. For the rest of my life, I've never stepped off with my right. Even today, when I get up and leave from this desk, I'm stepping off with my left foot. I promise. Doc, been on the road. Just moved to Oklahoma, originally from Cali. Good move. Yes, a great migration. How you like Oklahoma? And you survived California. Good on you. From California myself. No rush to get back there anytime soon. Giovanni, start a podcast, sir. We want to. We definitely are going to. Giovanni, we'll have you on one day. This is I'm having a podcast with myself, well, with all of you, but by myself right now. But I do want to. Again, I have some great Marines and Patriots that I do want to have on and just talk story. Awesome. I'm telling you, with the community like you all, blessed, truly blessed to have such a community of warriors. This is awesome. Wednesday night. It is a Wednesday night. We're drinking water. What better way to say? Remember I told you, sit with warriors. The conversation is different. Mike, where in Cali am I from? Born and raised in Sacramento. Moved around a lot. My parents were in the food business. San Ramon, Danville, Citrus Heights, Carmichael, San Jose. But I graduated out of Danville, San Ramon Valley High School in Danville, California. Got recruited out of Oakland, California. Been back there a few times when I first, my family still lived there. Oakland's what? Yeah, Oakland, I have a feeling that a lot of those parts of California are trashed. I did talk to somebody recently from Sacramento, and they said Sacramento's kind of like divided. There is an extremely trashy part, and then there's a part that all the money went to. San Jose, a lot of money in San Jose now because of who's there, Google and a couple of different organizations, but I know cost of living is very high. How about you? Where are you from in Cali? SDI boot camp. Yeah, let me see. Boot camp and spent 3 weeks in, yeah, but now wants to go back. Do you think he'll be accepted back? He SI'd. Oh, he SI'd. He SI'd at boot camp. Wow. SI'd, for those of you who don't know, is suicide ideation. So if you, it's serious, very, very serious thing to say. All this SIs I've seen happen, suicide ideation, if they say those words, they're gone. Getting back in, I have no idea if that's even, I have a feeling if that's on your record, it's going to be very, very tough. And I realize as a DI, A lot of kids say it because they're scared and they just want out of there. They'll do or say anything to get out of there and realize very quickly it was a mistake. They never meant it. I think that the fear obviously is somebody says it and nobody takes action on it, and they just put him back in training, and he actually does it. Some liability issues. So it is very serious. There's psychiatrists that look at, and I had recruits as a drone instructor. If they, as soon as they SI'd, I'd take them. I'd call, make the call. Hey, this guy just SI'd. They'd come get him. Never see him again. So it's very serious. Not sure that whole story on that individual, but if he did mean it, man, what a tough way to be held accountable. Just messed up an opportunity because of a lack of something. So not sure. The what? Check with the recruiter. Definitely ask the question. Racking out. Great stream, Sergeant Major. Good night, Marines. Chesty, wherever you are. Randolph, have a good night, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Saturday. See you Saturday. Or Sunday. Let me ask that real quick. So remember, we were doing them on Saturdays and Wednesdays. Last week we did Sunday because of my schedule. We did it Sunday, and it was a pretty great live stream. We had a good time. So let me know in the comments right now, Saturday or Sunday. Like the 1900 time frame, it works out, I think, for all the coasts, wherever you are. Or an hour earlier. Would it even be better an hour earlier? I know East Coast, it's pretty late right now. So let me know what you think. Saturday or Sunday. I'm open to both. I thought Saturday would be better, but it is right in the middle of the weekend. Let me know what you think. Carl says Sunday. Good night, Carl. Or Carl saying good night to Knowledge. Who does? Doc Holiday, Sunday and a cold beer. Semper Sunday. Mike. Jake, Texas, says Saturday. Sunday's winning so far. My production team likes Sunday. I like the cold beer idea on a Sunday. Writing letters to your kids. Giovanni says, writing letters to your kids is very important. Getting them connected with the chaplain. Avoid the mental health issues early on. Amen. There you go, Giovanni. Okay. Still talking about the SI. Good point. Keep your Marine informed with letters. Keep him motivated, him or her happy and informed. Production. Podcast sounds great. All right. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Saturday or Sunday? Gary, did you DM your address? Want to send you something, brother. Gary, DM me, Instagram, LinkedIn, message me so we can get your address. Over here at MCT. I hope I meet him out here. Saturday or Sunday? Both are fun to us. Again, you heard my production team, though. They said Sunday. Saturday, Sunday. So what's the pros and cons? Saturday is more of a, because Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's a shorter week. Saturday to Wednesday, 7 days, so it's kind of tough. Wednesday's right in the middle. That works. Let me know what you think. Brandon says, down to watch your stream and talk with warriors anytime, brother. That's what I'm talking about, Brandon. Semper Fi, brother. Sunday podcast. I think you get more people. Thanks, Giovanni. I think you get more people than Joe Rogan. I won't tell Joe Rogan that. Sunday, I'm in church Sunday morning, zing ping, as are we. So that's why Sunday evening works well. Man, Sunday's looking good. All right. Let's plan it. Let's plan it. Yeah. All right. We're going Sunday. Making a command decision right now. Sunday, 1900. Now, again, do we like the 1900 time frame? 1900. Ronnie Miller. Good to see you. I'll go with Sunday when we're winding down to get ready for Monday. What a great way to start the week off, right? Especially if you're one of those, Monday. You decide what kind of Monday you have. If you have a great Sunday, then maybe Monday will be better. Sunday it is, Carl. I'm making the call. Production team, unless they tell me different, that maybe that's a battle I might not win, just like in boot camp. Pepe, what have you missed? We're deciding if we want to go Sunday podcast live stream, Sunday Zing Ping, Saturday or Sunday. 1900 is perfect. Giovanni, all in. Refuel the tank. Sunday, Jason. Here we go. Michael's Drones, RCs, and Knives. If you haven't joined his podcast or his channel yet, subscribe ASAP. So, Major, if you don't mind me asking what state you live in. I'm all over the place. Michael's Drones, California, Texas, Hawaii, all over. Doc says, hell yeah. Great motivation on Sunday. Wake up and kick Monday's butt. Yeah, awesome. Anytime, any day, Gary. Hydrate, Carl. I'm with you. Telling you, I've been drinking a lot of water after that Murph kicked my butt. All right. Thanks, Pepe. Down for anything. Yeah, what kind of memes you got, Pepe? Pepe memes. Let's see what you got. Giovanni, who is the first guest? Oh, where can we see your memes, Pepe? Giovanni, who's the first guest? Where you at? Let's meet up somewhere. Yes, if those of you, and he's not on here tonight for some reason. Don't worry, I'm going to give him a call after this. Sergeant Major Brian Olea, best Marine I know. He's going to be on. Doc is the first guest. Doc Holiday. Jake, good night, brother. Semper Fi. Texas, it's late over there. Thank you, Sergeant Major. You, sir, sharing my channel. My friend, absolutely, Michael's Drones, RCs, and Knives. Subscribe ASAP. Yeah, tell us your channel. You want a shout out? You put out some content. Give people reason to go to your channel, stay on your channel, subscribe. Like and subscribe. Share the channel. Costs nothing to like someone else's channel. Leave a comment. Support each other. We got to do that. We got to keep each other growing. That's what it's all about. Loving it. This is our community. These are our people. Let's continue to build this. Like and share. You are our people. Love it. Pepe the Frog is a meme I named myself after. Funny. My wife, she was into Pepe about 2016. She had his sticker all over the place. I never knew what it was or what it meant. I know he's an ugly frog, though. Sorry. Am I retired? You have any photos of your time in service? I am retired, but I look exactly the same as what I did from day one of boot camp. That's from from PT. Might have a couple more wrinkles and some gray hair. I am bald by choice. No, you the man, Michael's Drones. Giovanni, are those hearts? You sending me hearts? My wife calls me Mr. Clean. I've been called Mr. Clean before, believe it or not. Every year, my kids want me to be Mr. Clean for Halloween. I've never done it. I need to. I absolutely have to. Yes, you have given the info, Gary. Okay, I'll get on it. We'll get on it and get it out to you. Yes, he's an ugly frog, but he builds character. Yes, she loves him. Blessed is the day the Lord has made. I will glad to rejoice in it. Amen. Anderson. Brandon says, do you have merchandise for sale? Yes, we do. Remember, we're on a little bit of a hiatus right now, but check the description in our link. We have a merch store. Stickers. Can I show some stickers? Couple shirts like the one I'm wearing, SFMF. We have some hoodies. We got a couple stickers. Let me just show you. This is the newest one. Right, old school stuff. Am I doing that right? Can you see it? Oh. Right. Here's another one. Let me show you that. So you know about that? You see my flask? All right, just a sticker, not the flask yet. We have no engravings on it, but stickers. Talked about lanyard. Let me tell you about this. All American. All American made. Nope. Oh, maybe the mic. In America, by an American, by a veteran, all American made parts. The ring is American. The dummy cord, the 550 cord, the paracord, whatever you call it, made. Every piece of this is made in America by a veteran, in our merch store. Working on some new stickers, shirts and hoodies. I haven't worn it in a while, but I have that Marine shirt with the SFMF underneath it. Even one in the back. We had the birthday shirts during the birthday time frame during November. It had special edition birthday shirts. So yes, we are working on merch. Beginning of July, the merch store will be back open. I'm going to start trying to restock some stuff. Right now it's just stickers and lanyards, but shirts will go back on sale very soon. So keep an eye out and let us know if you have ideas for merch. The sound is out again for me. Can you guys still hear me? Give me oh, Pepe. America. Ideas for shirts. And the again, if you don't mind saying era instead of URAH, you get your URAH shirt. Don't forget history. Says enjoy all the videos. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it because I'm telling you, I hope you like it because we love it. And again, this is a community. I told you about that conversation I had yesterday with someone that was on. Man, I should have told them we were going to be on live again tonight. Talked for a good hour and a half. Army guy, just had a little bit of struggles. Again, that's that buddy check. We weren't buddies before, but we are now. And it's something that I plan on continuing to talk to him, motivating him, and myself. Learned a lot from him as well. So it's that community of brotherhood and sisterhood that we got to maintain. It was about purpose. And shared a little bit of my story way back in the early beginning, but shortly after I retired, I realized I didn't feel like I had a purpose anymore. And it was tough to take. In the service, whatever branch you're in, you have a purpose every single day. You're told what to do, when to do, and there's a mission. There's an end state to what you're doing. When you get out, it's not so clear anymore. Remember, you PCS from one unit to another, automatically you have a ton of friends. Instant family, instant friends, instant mission. It's set out. You have formations. You know what time to be where. It's constant and it's nonstop. When you get out, though, however, it's a little bit different. Leadership is different. The language is different, right? You can't say things like head and bulkhead and you know, your humor is not the same that we have, especially Marines. I think all the services. Civilian sector is different. So in order to help transition into that, that's what this community is helping for. So that's the best part about it too, because we have from Poolees to retirees to service from Vietnam. Man, I would love to, World War II, you know, that's been so long. There's very few World War II survivors left. But man, if we can get a World War II survivor on here, someone obviously have to help him with the technology, but just the community of such a huge difference in backgrounds. But again, one thing in common, service to our country or a patriot of our country. So America, somebody put it up there already. I can't remember who it was. It was Pepe. Have you ever heard of a high school called Southeast Academy in Norwalk, California, ran by 2 retired master sergeants from the Marine Corps? You should check it out. I definitely will. Southeast Academy in Norwalk, California. Yeah, we'll look it up. Jason Litzow, there's no leadership in civilian life. Wow. I tell you, I'm experiencing that now. There are good civilian leaders. Let's not say none, but it definitely is different. And I'm learning that the longer I've been in the civilian sector. Here's even the worst part about that. Some of that civilian leadership, that civilian poor leadership, is even from some retired Marines. It's like they forget about it. They forget where they came from. And I hadn't experienced, I don't know, maybe I was a lucky Marine my entire career. Can't even remember the bad leadership I experienced. Sure, there was some here and there, but I've experienced some very, very poor leadership in the civilian sector right now, from full-fledged civilians to retired Marines. It's pretty amazing to me, and it's hard to take, hard to see, because I talk about that. Does combat leadership transfer over to civilian leadership? Yes, it does, 100%. Again, Marines have been successful for 248 years. So do they have a monopoly on leadership? No, but they have it figured out. So why would you not continue that leadership style or construct in the civilian community when you know it, you've lived it? So good point. Civilian leadership is different, and that's why we want more service members in Congress, in the White House, in the political arena, to get that military experience and leadership into it. Transparency. We talk about transparency a lot. That's what we're missing in the civilian sector. Marines, there was no doubt. When you screwed up, you were told. When you did well, you were told. When things were going high and to the right, you were told, and it was discussed. Now everything seems to be a secret. So, transparency. Perfect. Gary says, my 68th birthday is coming up and I can get myself a gift. Amen. Happy birthday, Gary. When is it? Put the date on there. 68th birthday. Still young. Get after it. Giovanni says, make your vision and mission statement clear. That will help millions, which what you're trying to convey to everyone. Be nice. What is our big mission statement? So that's what our big vision statement is. That's why you got to make it clear. Our mission here at SFMF is to continue to build this community bigger and bigger to affect more people possible. Remember, veterans, their family members, and patriots. Everyone is welcome. Like-minded people to help all service members transitioning from the military to the civilian sector. I didn't think it'd be an issue. I thought I knew it all as a sergeant major. Found out quickly I did not. Did the Marine Corps set me up? I think they tried. And they get better and better, I think, and there's veteran service organizations. They want to help, but some of the people making the decisions aren't the ones that have lived through it. Okay, a problem I'm dealing with in the civilian sector now. They're making decisions for people that it affects, but they've never done it. So when I got out, I received my transition brief in Afghanistan. So how much was I paying attention, first of all? But it was something I had to do. A check in the box. Yes, he went through his transition services. He's good to go. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I thought I had it all figured out. I was getting out. Excuse me. I got out on a Friday. I did my retirement ceremony on a Friday. Had my retirement party that same evening. Spent Saturday morning with my family, and I flew out that evening I had to be in Quantico, 1 week course on JROTC. Came back from that, probably on a Saturday as well. Maybe I left Friday, I don't remember. But I started working that very Monday. So my transition period was non-existent. So I didn't do all the things that I probably learned in that class in Afghanistan on the things I should be doing about, excuse me, any benefits that I should be applying for and stuff I should be preparing for. And you're in the civilian sector now, you're not going to be able to go to BAS and if you have an ailment and my education benefits and all those things that I just didn't know. Since I was working, I was occupied and didn't think about any of it. Until a couple years later, it all started to affect me in a bad way. The transition piece hit me hard, and I didn't know where to turn. And it was, I learned the hard way. Very, very hard lesson learned. And that's where we're at now. We don't want anyone to learn it the hard way. There's no need for it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's there and people want to help. So our big goal is to get a ranch somewhere for transitioning service members, probably Texas, or the great state of Texas. Get a ranch. Have some cattle. Not a rancher, city boy, but I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to figure it out with some transitioning service members who do know how. We want to make it free for them to come, make that transition a lot smoother, set themselves up for success, being around like-minded people so we can communicate, still speaking the same language. No self-medication, drugs, alcohol, whatever, just destructive behavior that's not going to help you in the future. So we want to be able to provide that. Creating a utopia for warriors to come in for free. You're going to work it off though. You're going to earn your keep. You're going to tend to the horses and the cattle and muck out the stalls and whatever else happens on the ranch, and we'll figure it all out together. Rebuild the fence, check the wire, check the chicken coop, all those things that are going to provide work. Because ain't nothing for free, but at the end of the day, we're all warriors and we all want to continue to serve. That's our purpose. No contract. You move on when you're ready. Once you feel you're ready to tackle the civilian community, the civilian sector, as a prior service, anything, you're ready to go. Thank you for your service. We'll keep tracking. You'll continue to follow us on channel. You'll keep us updated and tell everyone how you did it, what you did. Choose. We'll have some online courses. Try and get you licensed in things that you want to do. Prior MOS doesn't matter. Prior service doesn't matter. That is our big goal. So help us get it out. Get it out to the universe. Tell your family and friends. Make it happen. That is our ultimate goal. So this community, we love all of you. Thank you all for your support. And you're going to be with us. You're going to help us. We're doing this together. We can't do it ourselves, right? But we're damn sure going to try, and we're building in public, vulnerable as heck, but we're going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen. With your love and support, God is guiding us. We are where we are because that's where God wants us. We firmly believe that. So how long it takes, don't know. Is it possible? Absolutely. We never quit or give up, just like in boot camp. Never quit or give up. We cannot help you and attain your goal if you're not willing to give your very best. And we're willing to give our very best. So thank you all. Appreciate it. That is our big goal and our big mission. And we can't do it without you. So Sunday it is. We'll see y'all next Sunday, 1900. Be with us. Have a great rest of your week and a good start to your weekend. We appreciate everything. A couple more things that we will always talk about, but thank you from the bottom of our heart. God bless you all, and Semper Fi, my friends. Ebra.